you all here for the regional clinic. And thank you for all the service and all the hard work that you've put in over this past year, summer, and all the hard work that you're going to be putting into this upcoming 2019-20 season. Before we get started, somebody just handed me some keys. I'm not an assigner, so I probably shouldn't take this car. But, so if anybody lost some keys over this side of the room, I have them. I'm going to check your pockets. To get started, just first of all, some logistic things. You should have received an email from me if you're registered for this clinic, maybe two, because some people weren't able to open the first one, so I sent the second one with PDFs. And so if you've made copies or if you have them on your laptops or devices, if you absolutely need a copy and you don't, I have a few extra copies out at the table that you could grab. There's one for this session, the main session, and then there's one for the breakout session. The badges that you all have, making sure that you checked in, everybody should be wearing their badge, has a number on it. This will be obviously the main session, room number 1. So when we break into the breakout sessions, Penny's session will stay here as session number 1, and we'll move everybody to this side of the room and be using that screen. And so if you have badge number 2, you will go right across the hall to the Ponderosa Sagebush room for Violet's session. And if you have number 3, you'll start in the Buckhorn stage horn room, which will be number 3. And then once we get going in the breakout sessions, we'll just rotate accordingly. We'll have some assistants out in the hall to help you rotate to your next session. At the end of all of the breakout sessions, we'll return back here so that we can finish and with a closing, and then you can make sure that you get your badge scanned on your way out. And then tomorrow morning, or hopefully before noon tomorrow, you will receive another email from myself with a survey that we would ask you all to complete. We're always trying to make these regional clinics as best as possible, and so any feedback that you could give us would be greatly appreciated. And if you could do that in a timely manner, we try to gather that information as quickly as possible, because obviously we have our next clinic next week in Atlanta, and if there's anything drastic that we need to change, we can change it as we kind of go through the next 3 clinics after this one. So appreciate you filling that out and getting it back to us. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that for me to be up here and be able to speak with you today and be a part of this program, the National Officiating Improvement Program, is because of the retirement of Tina Craw. And I know that a lot of you know her very well because she's been a big part of this program for many, many years. And so some of you recognized me, and so, back in my assistant coaching days in the Big Sky, hopefully I did a good job of controlling my head coach. If back in my head coaching days at Alaska Fairbanks, I'm sorry. And my last 10 years as an administrator at Fort Lewis College, hopefully I took care of you if you were on our campus, and continue to take care of you there. But be able to come and bring my career full circle and be here as part of just women's basketball is amazing. And I just think of, the great thing that Lynn Holtzman, our Vice President for Women's Basketball, did when she is looking for a replacement for Tina, is to just understand the complexity of this position, and that it wasn't something that somebody could just jump right into. And so she's kept Tina on for the last few months, and will continue for a couple more months before she can completely retire, and to train me. And so hopefully I can take over and continue to move the program forward. But I would say that if you know her, this will probably be her last clinic. I might drag her to Atlanta next week, or a couple more, but she's going to be finishing up with us, so I don't know. She thinks she's going to completely walk away, but I don't know. I think I'm still going to have her on speed dial, but just want to thank her for everything that she's done, and just let you know that if you get a chance, you might want to just let her know how much you appreciate everything that she's done for this officiating program. are catching a flight later, so there will be no opportunity for drinks. One last thing, once we get into the session, and if you have any questions, we're going to have 2 microphones, one on either side of the room with our assistants. So just raise your hand if you have a question. We'll bring a microphone. We just want to make sure that everybody hears the question, and then either John or Penny can answer it for you. Well, without further ado, I have a couple of slides that I would like to go over with you before we get into the next part. So we are going to be doing some interactive things. Penny can go over this a little bit more here in a second, but just to make sure that the hotel has it set up so that if you want to log into the Wi-Fi, it's obviously the Marriott conference thing with the login, NCAA women lowercase. So that's something that you haven't done already or want to do, that will help you with your cell phone service and for the live interaction thing that Penny's going to do. Penny and John will do here in their sessions. Just wanted to review the NCAA eligibility requirements for all officials to work the NCAA tournament. Just listed in here, I'm not going to read them all. Nothing has changed, the same as previous years, making sure that obviously you're checking this one off your list as being a part of this clinic. The test that you'll need to take and pass, the quizzes that will be posted. When obviously Penny coming on board and taking over for June Corteau, who retired, can tell you that Penny is really excited about posting videos and some interaction, things like that. So make sure you take a look at those and watch those, because I think she'll have some really exciting stuff to put up there. And then the games and so forth. So nothing again has changed in that area. And then just reiterating the whole evaluation process that that is in place. And again, nothing has really changed. We feel like the system is working. We have a great group of regional advisors. We're actually getting ready to, hopefully this coming week, name our replacement for Charlene Curtis, who stepped away as a regional advisor. We had some great candidates, and we'll be naming that East Regional Advisor here this coming week, hopefully. And so with the watch list that we get and working with the regional advisors and the national coordinator, obviously, we'll be having that whole evaluation process. And so obviously you'll be out working those games, and when they're at your game and wanting to meet with you in the locker room and so forth afterwards, that's part of the process. And then the conference coordinators will be nominating. Obviously we'll narrow down the selection, and then in the end we'll have a recommendation to the Division I committee for the officials that will work the tournament. The only other thing that has changed is in the selection process, there was something called the index, and I don't know if anybody really understood or understands or understood what the index was about. It was a pretty complex. Tina actually tried to explain it to me and kind of went over my head. And so it was something we talked to the Women's Basketball Committee about, and we ended up removing it. We didn't really feel it was a big one. I think a lot of the things in this slide really kind of are the accumulation of the evaluation process in a better way. And so I just wanted to kind of reiterate that, but it really wasn't something that we're going to utilize moving forward. All right, without further ado, I'm going to take my seat at the back by Tina and pass it on to I call her my new BFF. I don't know who I spend more time with right now, Tina or Penny, but Penny Davis, our new national coordinator, and I'll let her take this show to the road.
You almost got me. 83 days ago, I had no idea I would be trading in my timing pack for a microphone. But it fits me pretty well. I gotta say, I feel like I have found the place where I'm supposed to be. It's extremely humbling to be in front of you guys in this position with a podium that is a little off kilter, but we'll work with that. You can laugh, it's okay. Light things up, we're gonna have some fun today, you guys. It's extremely humbling to be here and to be amongst so many of my peers that I had an opportunity to work with, or folks that I have taught along the way and helped and mentored. And so this unexpected twist was, it feels really good with you guys. And so thank you for that greeting. I really do appreciate it. And I will miss being on the floor with many of you, and just the opportunity to be on the floor with some of the folks that just got into this room. I will not miss the first flight out. No, you will not see me in the airport at that time of morning. I will not miss trying to get all of those things into my bag. Packing will not be as difficult, I know. But I will miss being on the floor with you guys physically. However, I do know that I will be out there with you in every game, so my schedule just went way up for those who are counting. But I'm going to be there with y'all every step of the way, and this program is really important to me. The passion that I feel for the game and officiating is off the charts, and to get to be in this role is huge. And it was also an opportunity for me to take on a new challenge and something fresh. So bear with me, you all are my guinea pigs, so thank you for the smiles and the welcome. I really appreciate it. So one of the things that got me really excited about the position was the strategic plan. And so you're looking at one of the documents that was published by the Picture Group, who is a great consulting firm. They hit about, 6,000 different parties in their research for this, and they came up with this entire strategic plan. That's a 5-year plan for women's basketball specifically. And if you haven't taken a look at it, I would suggest that you do so, because it's really inspiring. And the highlight of it, the big summation, is teamwork, inclusion, passion, and they say we tip with excellence and integrity. And all of those things and values were things that really spoke to me and made me excited that the NCAA is really active and taking a solid role in continuing to elevate our game, and officiating is obviously a big part of that. And we're not going to just be stagnant in where we are. We are going to continue to move forward in a really positive manner. So this is one of the major mantras of things moving forward. Here we go. And talking about our standards and excellence specifically, we've got some data on our play calling percentages for the NCAA tournament, Division I. So you can see over the years how our accuracy trends have increased significantly, to the point where I said that, you know what, guys, I think I've been set up here a little bit. 95% is going to be really hard to beat. But the one thing that's really notable about these numbers is that the improvement from 2016 to 2019 really came from eliminating or minimizing the NCIs, the no-call incorrects. So what we've learned from the focus that Marla, Andrea, Marty, and Violet have put on all of us officials to blow our whistles, and if we're a little unsure, we're better to decide to blow than not blow when we've got contact. And that creates an opportunity where we're more right than wrong, and that's why the call incorrects didn't all of a sudden skyrocket when we started blowing our whistle. They actually kind of maintained. So we need to keep this positive trend moving forward. And for the folks that haven't had the opportunity to work in the tournament, look at that number. That is the standard. And we want that number to stay in the 90s. Because that's what the expectation is for excellence in play calling. One of the other things that you may have gotten a notification from Arbor Sports on was our standards, officiating standards. And to my knowledge, I've never seen that document as an active referee, and it's something that our regional advisors and several conferences use to evaluate officials in conjunction with play calling accuracy. So I thought it makes a whole lot of sense to have that information in the hands of our referees so they know what the standards are and the expectations are. So you've got that information in front of you now on the central hub. So please get comfortable with that information. One of the things I want to take a moment to also recognize our officials who reached the mountaintop last season and worked the Final Four, working her 10th Final Four. Miss Lisa Jones, please stand up. Working her 3rd Final Four. Nicole Murray on her 2nd time to the dance. Give Nicole an opportunity to give her update, who everybody probably saw early in her assignment. She suffered a knee injury, and we've been asked many times about how the girl is doing that went down in the game. So I want the girl to have a chance to tell her story, so y'all hear it from one mouth.
I am the girl. First of all, I wanted to take a moment to thank every single person who reached out to me after my injury. I was humbled and blown away by the videos I received, the text messages, the phone calls, email, gift baskets, greeting cards. I still have like a shrine in my office with all the stuff I received. Thank you. If I didn't have an opportunity to get back to you, I apologize. I know some of you said I texted you. It wasn't on purpose. I truly mean it. I was blown away. And so many of you wishing for my speedy recovery and quick return to get back on the court with you. And I'm trying. So I am 5 months post-surgery. I did tear my ACL and I tore my meniscus. It was confirmed right after the injury happened, and I was wheeled off, as I'm sure a lot of you saw, back into the training room. I had surgery on April 25th, and I've been grinding 6-7 days a week with rehab. And my plan is to come back in December, but my body's the one who's going to let me know that, and my doctor's going to agree with what my body is saying. I'm not trying to rush it. I definitely don't want to do this again. For a lot of you who have reached out have told me it's a brutal injury, and it's a really long rehab process that you have to respect and be patient, and patience is not my strong suit. So definitely trying to get back and be out there with all of you. I miss a lot of you. It's different to be on this side knowing November's going to roll around, and I won't be out there, but I'll be out there with you guys in spirit. And again, thank you to everyone who reached out. It helps me get through my hard moments in rehab. A lot of the words that you shared. Thanks.
Nicole, we wish you nothing but the best and hope that your mind and your body all line up with that timing. At this point, I need a few people to stand up. Pete Arceo, and please remain standing. Lamarck Sport Barclay. Melissa Cannon. Scott Cruz. Shailene Dye. Jacob Finn. Dominique Hunter. Alicia Iwakiri. Ike Jesse. Amy Cromenhook. Taylor Mink. Lee Mullen. Leslie Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, these folks got their first Division I contract. This is their first regional clinic. Please welcome them. It's really an honor to get that first contract. I know we all remember when we got that first call or that letter in the mail, and some of us probably got a letter multiple times physically in the mail. Maybe it was an email or a text, but those moments are rare. Your first time is rare, so take a moment to appreciate that. But the folks that were sitting, please embrace those people, help them find their success, and help grow the game from that avenue. Since getting this position 83 days ago, I thought I should really dig into the book that I'm responsible for writing. Now, I will say I had pretty good level of familiarity with it prior to, as as a referee, but I found a passage in there that I didn't recognize and hadn't maybe revisited for a long time, but it really spoke to me and spoke to this position. So the referee is a leader. An NCAA referee is driven by a strong desire to improve the game and the officiating roster. The position has nothing to do with the official's seniority or the tournament experience. Referees are committed to the professional development of every NCAA official. A referee enthusiastically invests time with other officials with the goal of helping to improve the effectiveness of officiating. I thought long and hard about that, and I know that was the referee that I always tried to be. I tried to really help the other officials on the roster. I recognized that if people were comfortable, they performed better, and that helped me and my crews. I still see myself as an NCAA referee. I think our administrators, our conference coordinators, they're still NCAA referees. They are this, and I believe this is in all of us, and this is a thing that we need to embody as we move forward. Part of our strategic plan is uniting all the levels, Division I, Division II, and Division III. And I think we can take an opportunity to look back to the places where we got our starts and help those groups evolve and grow. Officiating has a pipeline issue for recruitment, not so much in basketball. I mean, people would walk through this door. But in other sports, there's a definite issue with being able to actually have contests and games. And so what we want to really do is continue to be ambassadors for officiating so that we can help facilitate getting people interested in officiating at any sport. So just wanted to share that. One of the grassroots strategic plan objectives I kind of came up with was to get some swag. I absolutely would walk into an interview or at the tournament regionals, and I see somebody with an NCAA something on. I'm like, I want that. I need that. I want that. I want it. I want it. That blue dot. It always means so much when you put it on your uniform, but to get an opportunity to wear a regular garment somewhere along the way was something I said, we need to do this because we can all be ambassadors of the sport. We can all wear that out and be appropriate, know who you're representing. But people are going to ask, hey, you do this. Tell me more about it. So it could be a conversation starter for you folks. Lynn included in the email that y'all got a link to order the garments, and the women's order zip long sleeve will be up shortly, I've been told. So it's just a great opportunity for us, and we have an officiating specific logo with a cute little whistle. So I hope I'm not wrong in that y'all are going to love that stuff. So that is that item. And all right, moving into some fun and entertainment. So get your devices. One of our interactive tools we're going to use today is called Slido. And so if you can go to your browser and type in that address, we're going to do a little warm-up activity so we know what we're going to do in the breakouts. So yes, you're allowed to be on your phones. You'll notice in the upper right corner there is an option to change, or in the center to change from general session to the different breakouts. So that's something we will do. So if you are ready to rock and roll, eyes up here, and so I'll know to begin. Okay, we're going to go to our first question. Responses. Okay, how many people do we have here, Lynn? 189. 189. We're going to get to 189? I don't know. 93. Okay. It was interesting at the coordinator meeting. We had a few more answers in number 4 and 5. these questions? Most people were comfortable, that's great. Little Goldilocks question about the weather.
Inside or outside?
You decide. Who thought it's too cold? I want to know. All right, so if you're on the road with Kim, the car's going to be warm. Got that figured out. All right. Only so many answers. And I didn't want to leave it open-ended because I know there's a couple of you in the room that still like to call me kid. Probably need to drop that for a little while. All right, and then the last one. Good job on that, guys. You are answering the questions very quickly. I like that. So pretty easy. This is the tool we're going to use in the breakout sessions to keep y'all honest and engaged. So great job with that. So really excited about our first clinic, and I want to now pass things off to someone who I greatly appreciate for his expertise on the next topic. I'm thankful I did not have to have the rule book in my memory bank and I get a chance to look things up, or even more importantly, call up on John to be the definitive answer. So get ready, we got a lot of changes this year, and without further ado, our Secretary of Rules Editor, Mr. John Levin.
I heard that, go Yankees. Maybe Yankees Dodgers in the World Series. You like the old days. When I say old days, I think like 77 and 78, not 81. So we have some new rules to discuss. I want everybody to take a deep breath. And you really don't need to, because if we understand the concepts of these rules, we're going to be fine. And I think our shot clock operators are going to be fine. I think you're going to help them a lot. I think the documentation that the men's SRE and I are going to share with them is going to help them too. So I don't think we're going to really need to worry as much as everybody thinks we will. A couple of things before we get into the rules. Publication corrections document. There are two documents. There's one for the rule book and the case book, and then there's one for the CCA manual. These are posted on Arbiter. When we update them, we'll change the date so you know that there's something new. In the printed rule book, the penalties for player substitute technical foul, bench technical foul, intentional foul, and disqualifying foul aren't right. But the PDF or the EPUB file or the MOBI file, if you choose to use your rule books that way, those are accurate. So if you're still paper and hard copy, you're going to have a little writing to do. Preseason exam opened yesterday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. It will close on Friday, October 25th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and that time is set by Arbiter. So that's 2 o'clock Pacific, or if you're in Arizona, when you're on standard time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You will need your rule book, case book, CCA manual, any of the documents that are posted under the rules section on the hub, Passing grade is 85%, as you saw from the previous slide, which means you need to get 85 answers correct. Test has 100 questions. There is a PDF on the test site that you can download the PDF and work on paper and then put your answers into Arbiter. Some terminology that we need to go over. It's going to be very important this year that we use correct terminology and that we understand the terminology that's in the rule book. The first change involves a note that's been added to Rule 4.8, which is the definition of control. And the note states, in essence, the team in control is commonly referred to as the offense. The team not in control of the ball is commonly referred to as the defense. When neither team is in control of the ball, there is no offense or defense. So when you read the word offense in the rule book, we need to know that a team is in control of the ball. You're going to see in Rule 211.6 the terminology shooting team and non-shooting team. And these terms are used to describe situations following the release of the ball on a try, whether it's a field goal or a free throw. You're going to see shooting team or non-shooting team. Unsportsmanlike fouls are now intentional fouls. We return some of us. This is definitely going back in time. And we remember when this was intentional foul, then flagrant one personal, then unsportsmanlike. So we are back to intentional foul. Most of the coaches that you dealt with probably still call it that. It removes the gender term. And just as a reminder, the intent of the fouler is not material. Nothing has changed as to what constitutes an intentional foul, just the name. And now player and team control fouls have been combined, and we are now referring to them as offensive fouls, because let's be honest, nobody ever put their fist in the air, punched and yelled, player control foul, or team control foul. If you said anything, you said offensive foul. And that's what our coaches also would say. That's what the media says. Nothing else has changed. Just the term that we're using to describe those fouls. Rule changes. Cameras are not permitted behind the white box that's painted on the backboard. That's this whole change. It's to remove any potential distraction for shooters, particularly free throw shooters when they're at the line. Cameras can be behind the glass anywhere else, but not behind the white box. If you see a camera back there, you'll ask game administration to have it removed. One uniform change, very subtle change. It now permits names, whether it's the institution's name or the player's name, so front or back. The name may be arched, or it may be completely horizontal, meaning all letters are on the same plane. If the name is arched, then the first and last letter have to be on the same plane, and that plane can't be below the top of the number. So we're still protecting the number. We're just giving institutions an opportunity to have a little bit more freedom with the uniform. This has been posted on the hub. Every school is going to see this. May be hard to read on the screen, but it pretty much gives, and it is not a substitute for the rule book, but it takes what's in the rule book, in Rule 122, 123, 124, 125, and puts it in a chart. Shot clock. So we may have situations when we reset to 30. We don't reset the shot clock. We reset to 20 no matter what. Or the shot clock is going to reset to 20 if it's at 19 seconds or below, or will remain as is if it's at 20 seconds or above. So there are only 4 possible scenarios with the shot clock. So let's talk about the first change. That the shot clock will reset to 20 seconds or will remain with the time that's on it, whichever is greater, when during team control, the defense commits a single personal foul in the offense's front court. And when the foul is committed in the backcourt, the shot clock will reset to 30 seconds. If the ball is in the backcourt and the foul is in the front court, this rule applies. It's based on the location of the foul and not the location of the ball. We have to have team control, and it's a single personal foul committed by the defense. Since most shot clock apparatuses, I guess apparati might be the correct grammatic term, plural, have two presets, 30 and 20, we have changed the kickball rule. So instead of it being 15 being the magic number, it's now 20. So we'll either reset when it's 19 or below to 20, or we'll leave it where it is 20 or above when there's an intentionally kicked or fisted ball violation committed by the defense when there's team control, or by the non-shooting team following an unsuccessful try that does not strike the ring or flange. And that's no different from last year. Those are the two situations where we either go to 20 or leave it where it is. So now let's talk about when the shot clock will reset to 20 no matter what. Well, we need a try, field goal or free throw. It needs to be unsuccessful. It needs to strike the ring or the flange. And when the ball comes off the ring or the flange, either the shooting team is first to establish control in their front court, commonly referred to as an offensive rebound. The shot clock will go to 20, regardless of where it was when control is established. So if I shoot the ball at 28, it hits the ring, and the way I shot, it's not going in. It comes off the ring. Connie's on my team. She gets the rebound. She controls the ball first in our front court. Even if she grabs the ball and the shot clock was above 20, it goes to 20. Shot clock operators are being instructed. And I know it's a slide ahead, but it's okay. Shot clock operators are being instructed. When a try hits the ring, they are going to reset to 30 seconds. And when the team that shot the ball is first to control the rebound, they will reset to 20. So manual dexterity will come into play. If the try hits the ring, comes off, Connie's on my team, she's first to secure control of the rebound in our backcourt, the shot clock will start running from 30 seconds. So whenever the shooting team is first to control the ball in their front court, it's 20. When it comes off the ring, if they're first to control in the backcourt, 30 seconds. So think about your division line as really being a division between 20 and 30. The other scenario where the shot clock will go to 20 seconds is when the shooting team is first to be awarded team control due to a foul, a violation, or an AP procedure because of something that has either been committed by the non-shooting team or maybe both teams. And this stoppage occurs because either the ball's in the front court or what caused the stoppage was in the front court. I shoot the ball, it hits the rim. Before anybody controls the ball, Penny, who's on the other team, fouls one of my teammates. She commits the foul in our front court. We are not in the bonus. We're going to get the ball for a throw-in. The shot clock goes to 20 seconds. Shot hits the rim, comes off, the non-shooting team intentionally kicks the ball. My team gets 20 seconds. Shoot the ball, it hits the rim, comes off the rim before anybody controls the ball, and the ball's bouncing around in the front court. Double foul. Arrow favors the shooting team, 20 seconds. I shoot it, it hits the rim. Bob Schofield's on the other team. He knocks the ball out of bounds. And it goes out of bounds over a boundary in my front court, 20 seconds. I shoot it, it hits the rim. Bob smacks it, goes all the way into my backcourt, and goes out of bounds on the end line, all the way in my backcourt, 30 seconds. We good?
Yeah.
And the breakout, we're going to do some plays with this. So I don't want, let's not, everything's good. We will be fine. I promise you. And again, when the shooting team is first to control the ball in their backcourt, or first to be awarded control in their backcourt, they're going to get 30 seconds. So they're not going to get, penalized because of what happens in their backcourt. They will get the 30 seconds. So if you want to look at it, they're going to get the 10 to advance to the front court. However you process it, front court is 20, back court is 30. When free throws are going to be attempted, the shot clock operators are being instructed to set it to 30 seconds. So much like the try from the field that strikes the ring, they're going to reset to 30. They're going to do the same thing during free throws. It'll be at 30 seconds. If the non-shooting team is first to control the ball, they're going to let it run. If the shooting team is first to control the ball, they'll reset to 20 and the clock will run. A replaced player, so we have two new substitution rules. A replaced player may enter the game at the next opportunity to substitute when the opponents commit a foul or violation before the game clock is properly started. We've all grown up with, you don't have to play a play, but you have to sit a play. And if you come out of the game and you're replaced, you could not return until the game clock legally started and stopped. There is now an exception to that. So, I'm going to pick on Bob again. Bob and I are opponents. And play stops for a traveling violation. I travel. My coach takes me out. Bob's coach takes him out. Bob's team has the ball for a throw-in. They commit a 5-second throw-in violation. I may come back into the game because the opponents, Bob's team, committed a violation. Bob cannot come back into the game. Obviously, any other subs who are at the table, this does not impact them. Anyone else at the table can come in. The only person who could not come in at that time is Bob. I travel. Bob's team has the ball for a throw-in. Before the throw-in is released, one of my teammates commits a personal foul. Bob can come back into the game. Any other sub at the table can come into the game. The only person who can't come in is me. The second change involves free throws, and those of you who were fortunate enough to work the WNIT 2 years ago, we experimented with this, the committee approved it, that when we have a 2-shot or 3-shot foul, we will bring the subs in prior to the first of 2 or first of 3. There will not, under normal circumstances, be substitutes coming in between free throws. And then the back end hasn't changed. If the last free throw is successful, they can sub in whoever they want. But you could potentially have substitutions between free throws because of injury, blood, lost or displaced lens, or after the first of 2, my coach calls timeout. Now, so long as substitutes report prior to the warning horn, they may come in. But if you're just shooting 2 shots with no other issues going on, there'll be no substitutions between the free throws. An automatic ejection will result when a player or team member has committed 1 technical foul and 1 intentional foul. This takes care of the unintended consequence of combining flagrant 1 personals and contact dead ball technicals into unsportsmanlike fouls 2 years ago. A player is assessed a technical foul. Later in the game, she commits an intentional foul. She's ejected and must report to her team's locker room. This is a brand new rule. 732, brand new. And it's also very specific. During team control, the 3 most important words with this new rule. We must have team control in order for this rule to apply. When the defense commits either a violation of Rule 9-6, which is intentionally kicking or fisting the ball, or causing the ball to enter the basket from below and through the cylinder above the rim, which we know happens at least 15, 20 times a game. The ball part, not the kicking part. Or when the defense commits a single personal foul in the offensive team's front court. So again, we have a violation or a foul that occurs in the offensive team's front court. The throw-in spot would be the nearest of the 28-foot spots or the LDB marks on the end line. So this is what it looks like. Hopefully I don't shoot myself in the eye with the laser. So now incorporated into the rule book is the infamous broken white line from the CCA manual. That line of demarcation that you use to determine whether a throw-in spot is on the end line or on the sideline. When we have an intentionally kicked or fisted ball or single personal foul by the defense committed outside the white line, we're going to go to the nearest of the 28-foot spots. I don't want this side of the room to feel left out. So outside the white line, we're going to the nearest 28-foot spot. Inside the white line, we're going to go to the nearest out-of-bounds spot at the LDB mark. Only in those 2 circumstances. It prevents the defense, when there is specifically a defense by rule, prevents the defense from being able to kick the ball or commit a personal foul and have the offense put in a disadvantageous position by having a lousy throw-in spot. For any other stoppage that occurs during the game, where play resumes with a throw-in, you're going to do what you've always done. Out-of-bounds spot nearest to where the foul or violation occurred, or if it's a situation where play resumes at PLI, the out-of-bounds spot nearest to where the ball was located. Changes to the technical foul penalties, specifically player substitute and bench technical fouls. In addition to 2 free throws being awarded to any member of the offended team will be awarded the ball for a throw-in at the division line opposite the table. So the penalty for a player substitute technical foul, a bench technical foul, an intentional foul, and a disqualifying foul, they are all the same. So, and hopefully this doesn't happen to anybody this year, but if you have a layered play where you are assessing technical fouls for behavior, intentional fouls, and disqualifying fouls, last year you had to separate the technicals out to determine the number of fouls of equal gravity, And then you also had to deal with your intentional / disqualifying fouls and parse them out. And it was possible that one team could be shooting free throws for technicals, one could be shooting them for intentional and disqualifying fouls. The possibility of an error existed. Now, if A commits 5, whether it's player substitute, bench, technical fouls, intentional fouls, disqualifying fouls, in any combination, and the opponents commit 4, then we know the opponents are getting 2 shots at the ball at the division line. It's as simple as saying, I've got 5 on one team, 4 on the other. There's a difference of 1. If it's 5 and 5, everything is a foul of equal gravity. Charge the fouls, resume play at the point of interruption. So it should assist with layered plays. It should make these explanations cleaner and simpler. And play should be able to resume expeditiously after everything has been sorted out. We have some new monitor rules. Last year, for the last couple of years, on a successful try, you could use replay to determine whether the try was released before the end of the shot clock period. The only change to this rule is if you do use replay and determine that the ball was still in the shooter's hand when the violation occurred, you're going to put the game clock to the time at which the violation occurred. So if the violation occurred at 8:30, but when you blew your whistle after the successful basket, it was at 8:27, and replay confirms that this was a violation, the game clock gets set to 8:30. Second replay rule. You rack the monitor to determine whether there was an intentional or contact disqualifying foul. And while you're there, you see that, suppose that Brenda's refereeing, and Brenda's at the monitor because she wants to confirm that when Bob shoved me, it's either intentional or contact disqualifying foul. And while Brenda's at the replay system, she sees me go at Bob. I taunted him. I committed misconduct. If you had seen it live, what would you have done to me? Technical foul, correct? You may now assess to me a technical foul when I visibly, this is a physical action by me. When replay shows that, you may now assess the technical foul to the offender. You cannot use replay solely to penalize misconduct, or what's defined as misconduct under 10.12.3 and 10.12.4. You may not lip read. I finally made you laugh when I said something serious. You may not read their lips. Either you heard me call Bob a blankety blank, or you didn't. And he's from Jersey too, so that's okay. But if I do anything that would constitute taunting or baiting, you may penalize that. You may now use replay to determine whether a foul occurred prior to the expiration of the shot clock period. This is broadly written. So, where the ball is located may not be where the foul is located. You may have guard on the perimeter getting ready to shoot the ball, and the foul is down in the lane. You may use replay to determine whether the foul was committed before the end of the shot clock period, and much like the standard that is used at the end of the game with the reading of zeros and determining a foul, you will base your decision whether the foul was committed using when the contact occurred, when the illegal contact occurred. So at the end of the game with the reading of zeros, and now at the end of a shot clock period to determine when the foul occurred first, you will base it on the contact. No change to the rest of the game. In every other part of the game, a foul occurs when you blow the whistle. When you do determine that the violation was before the foul, you'll set the game clock to the time at which the violation occurred. The caveat: if the contact is intentional or disqualifying, it does not get canceled. You will, even though you had a shot clock violation, you will still penalize the intentional or disqualifying foul, as those may never be ignored. Last year, at the end of the first, second, and third period, officials shall go to replay to determine whether a foul was committed before the reading of zeros, a try was released before the reading of zeros, or a shot clock violation occurred before the reading of zeros. But at the end of the fourth period, or the end of the game, you only went if it was necessary to determine the outcome of the game, whether you could go play an extra period or somebody was going to win based on your decision. You will now go no matter what. At the end of any period, fourth, third, 15th extra period, you will always have to go. It is important that the games end statistically accurate. Player may you wipe out the basket and don't go look. In the past, that player finishes their career with 998 points. So it's important that all games 40 minutes, we're going to have statistics for 40 minutes of play. Two pieces from Appendix 3 that I'd like to share with you. We know that when a timeout has been granted, or it's the intermission following the first and third period, that the bench area extends from the sideline to the near free throw lane line. And last year there were instances of coaches who were going beyond 28 feet onto the floor to have a discussion with the officials. Maybe not a nice discussion. And the only thing that happened was the official would walk them back to the bench, and that was it. The Rules Committee is asking that if this conversation is, in your judgment, is minor misconduct, they are to be issued a warning. And if it's blatant, they are to be assessed a technical foul. This is not an opportunity for them to take a free shot at you. And then the last piece, if any of you have been looking through your rule books, in Appendix 3 under the post-play section under displacement, it's all in blue. And I just want to focus on one piece, because it's the most important piece out of that section. In the past, when we talked about an offensive post player in the lane area, we know the lane area is approximately 3 feet outside the 3 lines that mark the lane. And her back is to the basket. If she doesn't have the ball, a post defender may contact her with multiple points of contact, so long as the defender doesn't hold, push, displace, yada, yada, yada. But once she gets the ball, the only legal point of contact, so long as her back is still to the basket, is an arm bar away from the body or one hand with a bend in the elbow. And in the past, we've said, you have to give them time to react to the ball now being in the hands of that offensive post player. No more. That defender must be in a legal position immediately. And if they're not, it's a foul. We have not had the spacing that we need on these players. That defender needs to assume a legal position quicker. So use whether, if you're working inter-squad scrimmages, or you're working exhibitions or closed game scrimmages, call fouls. Get them used to this. That defender must be in a legal position immediately. And if I were coaching, I might suggest you start getting legal as soon as you see the ball coming into the post. Say it might play or a foul. But the committee, we want this spacing. We had too many plays last year where that defender was not getting off quick enough, and that offensive post would turn, or elbow would hit the defender, and then it became a replay review. Offensive foul, no foul, defensive foul, intentional foul, disqualifying foul. If we get that spacing quicker, it should reduce and make your judgment easier if they get off quicker. The Rules Committee wants you to make them get off quicker. Any questions? I don't know how I did for time, but.
Great.
I'm Melissa. You gotta wait for the microphone because they need to hear you. Sorry.
So I have a question on just the very last one, the bench decorum. When the head coach goes past the, either the 28-foot line, comes out of the expanded bench area. So 9 times out of 10, if they're making a beeline for someone, it's usually going to be engaging in some type of minor misconduct. But they do have to say something, do something. If they just walk out because they want a clarification on that last call that we made, or they're walking out, so that would not be a warning?
If they're not engaged in minor or blatant misconduct, no, then walk them back.
Okay.
But they need to understand that they shouldn't be there in the first place.
Gotcha.
This is Bob's payback for me.
Hello. I have a question about the play where we went to the monitor and you said that we could penalize the taunt prior to the foul, the intentional foul, and the push of the back. Would they become equal gravity penalties because they were in the same period? Or because you went to the monitor, does that create another period?
Okay. Very good question.
Thank you.
You can't compliment the guy from Jersey because it goes to their head. So if you remember, there was a case, in last year's casebook, we had there were some situations where, like I clarified, you stop play for an intentional foul. And now you had the unobserved act prior. Coach says, but they punched my kid back there. And you go and you went and you looked and you saw that, yes, somebody got punched back there. And the clarification was it didn't matter whether the ball was live or dead, because I didn't want to get into that, whether it was after a basket or not, but you were within your window. We said those are fouls of equal gravity, so long as the penalties were exactly the same. So I stopped play for an intentional foul, where it was going to be 2 of the ball, and we had the unobserved act prior, and that was going to be 2 of the ball. We said they're fouls of equal gravity, resume play in POI. This is no different. So we stopped play for a travel. I shoved you, and the officials, let's say the officials don't see it, and the coach is screaming, John, push Bob. They go, look. They see, yes, John pushed Bob. Intentional foul. But they also see that Bob taunted me. So long as Bob's taunt is in the window to review an unobserved act. Might not have to be at the same time, because remember, players can be sneaky sometimes. And they may not react right away. They may wait to see if somebody's not looking. So that misconduct doesn't have to be so immediate, but it does have to be within the window to review an unobserved act. So we'll give you, you're gonna get that because we don't want them doing this. This is a problem. Because they think they can get away with it, and now they can't.
So kind of a follow-up on that. So let's say kind of the reverse. So Cole has a intentional foul, or an intentional foul. We're going to go review, and at the same time I said, hey, and I've got a technical foul for taunting for Brenda standing over the opponent. So, but we're going to review this, and in that review, we see that Brenda was not standing over the opponent and not taunting in any way. Can we take that away?
That's a great question. That is, give her a round of applause. And I have learned that when there's a great question, I don't have to answer it right away. I want to think about it. I want to think about that. So thank you. Oh.
Real quick, back to the shooting reset of the shot clock. Shooting team shoots, hits the flange. Non-shooting team gains first control. Shot clock reset to 30.
Wait, say that again, please.
Shooting team shoots, hits the flange, comes off. Non-shooting team gains control first. 30. They now commit an offensive foul. My two-part question is, A, now the new offensive team in their front court, that shot clock will be at 20. And B, is it going to one of the 4 designated spots?
Okay, so I'm going to answer your question with a question, or 2 questions. In anything, when I talked about reset to 20, was there anything in there about team control changing between teams? Because there's no longer a shot involved in your play. Non-shooting team controlled the rebound. So now it's normal play. If there's a turnover for any reason, a steal, you're dribbling in your backcourt, I steal the ball from you, I get 30 seconds. Because that's not anything that was discussed. And that's why I tried to couch everything in how limited this will be. We're still going to have 30-second resets when a team gains control of the ball in their front court. You commit an offensive foul in your backcourt, which now becomes my front court, I'm getting 30. So don't try not to go beyond the circumstances that I gave you. That's why I tried to keep it as focused as I could. Now the second part. That play, give me the second part again. I so wrapped up in the first part, I forgot the second part.
The second part is once I gain control, I commit an offensive foul. Will the point of the inbound play be one of the 4 designated spots?
So we know it's not an intentionally kicked or fisted ball, or the ball going up to the basket from below. Was that a foul by the defense committed against the offense in the offense's front court?
No.
Then you're not going to one of the 4 spots. Thank you, Fidel.
So when there is, let's say the game clock's at 29 seconds, shot clock is 30, it gets shut off. Now you have your 10-second backcourt visual. And it goes into the front court and there's a shot that hits the rim at 27 seconds. Is it going to come back on and go 20?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's a great question. So, A gets the ball, there's 29.6 seconds on the game clock. The shot clock display, like the mechanism isn't completely off. The only thing that's off is the display. And I have confirmed this with 3 companies. Of course, there are more than that, so we'll find out. The only thing that's off is the display. They can reset the shot clock to 20 so long as the game clock has more time on it than the shot clock period. So inbound at 29.6, I get the ball, I don't listen to my coach, I shoot right away. Hits the rim, Melissa gets the rebound at 25.4 seconds. 20 seconds is going up on the shot clock.
Okay. All right, the time right now, if you have any more questions for John, you can catch him at the breakout session or afterwards, but we need to move on to the mechanics section, but we're gonna give you a 10-minute break really quick, so you got 10 minutes to.
If you can hear my voice, clap 2 times. We can bring that out. We can do that. Good job, guys. Hey, thank you, John. Really good information. Obviously, we've got a lot of things to adapt to this year, but I have the utmost confidence that we're going to be able to do that very well. One of the things, if you paid attention to his wardrobe, he is modeling the new logo with the referee whistle. So if you want an up-close and personal view of what that looks like, go and see John. He's our model of the day. So thank you, John. All right, we are going to move into our mechanics presentation and talk about the focus areas for the season. So, hey, here's what the mechanics manual looks like. I know that some folks have gotten delivery confirmations that they're on their way. Yay! Sorry that there has been a delay with getting the books. The case book, for some reason, didn't come from the publisher quite at the right time, but they are on their way. The other thing, on NCAApublications.org, you can download both the rulebook and the manual in a PDF for free, no additional charges. So I know as you're starting to work on the 100-question test, that you can get started with the new books through that avenue as well. We have posted a corrections corner on Arbiter for both the rulebook and casebook as well as the officiating manual. I need to also add to corrections corner a couple of omissions from my recognition of new hires to Division I, and I would like Captain Chang to please stand up, as well as Kevin Maurer. Kevin Maurer from South, where did you say you were?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. And are there any other first-time Division I officials in this room that I have missed? Kevin, please. Now let's give these 2 a round of applause. Thank you. I'm learning this, guys. I'll figure it out as we go along. All right. One of the mechanics focus this year is our pregame duties. When we go to the captain's meeting, we need to now also inspect the uniforms of the players. So here we are in a captain's meeting. You know, they're usually showing us, lifting their warm-ups to show us the number. We need to make sure that the numbers are contrasting. We want to also check the undershirts and try to deal with that stuff at that 14:30 mark, so that they've got time if they need to go back to their locker room and alter what's going on, that we have an opportunity to do that. And I know oftentimes it's not the captain that's wearing the illegal undershirt, it's going to be one of the players. So we still need to do our due diligence and inspect the uniforms as we're standing out there on the court. So we want to make sure that we take care of that. Fashion police job is not anyone's favorite, but let's make sure we're doing that and getting them on board early on in the season, so that come January when Brenda shows up and they say, well, you know, 4 games ago I wore this, and you know, you're the first person to tell me that I can't wear it. Well, that makes Brenda mad and everybody else, and it's a disservice. So don't be the nice guy and let them have free passes on uniforms uniform stuff early on, take care of it right away. Next item, proper procedures when calling a foul. And yes, I know June is gone, but you still need to get your fist up and your hand up. We want uniformity in our signals, and this also buys us time in our decision making. I know the smiles from the people here that aren't really adept at getting their fist up. But we need to work on that because it does help us out, especially if we have double whistles. So continue to do that. The other point that's in there says use your voice. So many times there's a whistle and people just start walking. We need to communicate what we're doing, and especially our new throw-in spots. So do not leave the scene without communicating that information to the crew. We also are there in case there's any situations that become elevated with the players. It gives us an opportunity to manage. Photo here, you see a player down on the ground. Great time to just hang out with your fist up, looking good, waiting until the situation clears out. John addressed this a little bit, our consistent throwing spots. I like to break it down into some bullet points and think through the specific situations. So anytime we've got a single foul, you kick your fisted ball, we're going to go to those consistent spots. The times when we're not going to, I think, are really important to note. So anytime the ball rolls out of bounds, the location where that ball rolled out of bounds is what we're going to have to use for the throwing spot, no matter how awkward it is. The team that calls a timeout because they get trapped in the corner, they're going to have to take the ball out in the corner. They don't get to an improved position because of the timeout. Same thing with an injury. Plays in the backcourt, we're going to use the old school way of inbounding the ball. So the nice thing in the front court, teams hopefully could be more successful at their throw-in plays because we have these specialized spots that they can expect and practice from. And here's our diagram, the old school way, closest spot, that's where we get down the ball. One important thing to know when we've got our timeouts, we have to have our meetings with our crews at that throw-in spot. You can't be walking around with the ball. You're not going to leave the ball at the spot. It's great for the coaches to see us communicating at the location where the throw-in is going to occur. And it's great when they've got that one designated assistant that is going to come out no matter how many times we communicate where to throw in. They're going to want to know from you that it's right where you're standing. So we want to make sure we're standing at that location, and I'm sure these referees having this meeting are at that correct spot. But let's be really diligent about it. If a partner starts walking around, hey, I'll take the ball and stand here. Let's remind each other, because it's easy to get into a bad habit of forgetting to stay in that location. We have a new signal for running the end line. It's one I think we've all been using for many years, but we want to communicate that they have the opportunity to run that end line, and so we're just going to do this. Is that right, Connie, mechanics committee member? We've been doing it for years. Now they just put a nice mechanogram in the book. Simple stuff. All right, shot clock. Now that we don't have our 15 reset, they gave us a 20 reset signal. Pretty obvious. The most used signal I think we're going to see this year is going to be this one. And there's not a different one for 20, you don't do it the other way, but this one is the one I think we're going to see a whole lot of. We want to be mindful of our stoppages that we have, and if we have the opportunity to fix a stoppage and do this and get to that 20, 30 wasn't right, maybe they might reset to 30 again. This means 20, and that's a great thing to pregame with the table crew, especially that shot clock operator. We're going to need to be a little bit patient with them and not let our frustrations show. Good poker face and a smile. Please reset it to 20, thank you. Let's do our best to work with these people so that they get better at it as our season goes along. So here's a situation. 5.5 on the game clock. We have an offensive rebound. We know that this play now in our situation is going to go to a 20-second reset. At this stage of the game, if we have to stop play to correct a shot clock operator, it's going to be disruptive. And there's no impact really to the the other team because there's so much time left in the period. So in this situation, this is a great one. Hey, come on, please reset this, reset it. No, 30's not right, 20, okay, great. Because what's gonna happen if we stop play in that situation, it's gonna take us longer to get the correction than it is for the value of what we're gonna put back on the clock. So let's really try to do those live ball corrections as much as possible. Different situation, now we're in the last 30 seconds of the ball game. We have an offensive rebound that happens at about 27, 26 seconds. Here, the other team gains a possession and now they have to travel the distance of the floor. That 6, 7 seconds is really important, and if that becomes a 4 or a 5 because we did this, that's a problem. This is a situation where we want to go ahead and stop it, correct it, and be really precise so that we make sure that that other team is going to get the full value of what's left if they get rebounded. All right, everything's cool back there. It's a dark screen. Monitor review situations. We are going to go through this at length in the breakout session. Overall, and if you're watching NFL football, they're complaining miserably about how long replays are taking, and the same is true on women's basketball. They really criticize us for the length of time, and often there's things out of our control, and it's not our decision making, but we are going to work on improving that process across the country. So this is really an important area that we need to focus on and just get better at, and get cleaner at, and more efficient. One of the things that we have put into play is we are not going to talk to the TV talent prior to going to review. And the reason is because we've got more opportunities to penalize things. We may go over there for one thing and then all of a sudden see some conduct that needs to be penalized, and now we're coming away with something different than what we told them we were going to look for, and we can paint ourselves into a corner. So, and we can be easily misquoted on situations, and so while we have the stoppage, they can have a dissertation on something that's inaccurate. So we're not going to go over beforehand. We are going to go over after and give them our concise summation. One of the other things I want to mention to you, and Brad Gaston is here from DB Sport. Brad, if you can stand up. Brad is available for, you can clap for him, that's good. He's going to be available during the sessions, and afterwards he told me his flight's not till about 6:30, so anyone has any issues with iPads, questions about replay, Brad is available to assist and answer any of those things. So thank you for being here, Brad. Okay, moving on. Rebounding. This is probably one of the biggest concerns of play calling and situations escalating, and an area that we have to be really, really good on. And it's got to be all three officials. We have to team officiate rebounding much better and more actively. You can see the slide here, the language on it, but it often happens before the shot's even released. And it doesn't matter if we've got a basket made or missed, we still have rebounding action. So we want to do a really good job of being ready to officiate that, and as trails not bailing out and headed in the other direction for the transition, we need to stay in the front court. And then identify the rebounders that you can best referee in your primary, and if you don't have any, extend and assist. The other thing, we've got the clarification signal for the play that's staying here. We can use that outside of rebounding situations. However, we do not want to use it every time we've got a front court foul and we're staying in the front court. It loses its impact when we overuse it inappropriately. A rebounding play, we've got a lot of action and typically a ball that's not with team control, so it's great to use that or to point in the other direction. But use it sparingly outside of rebounding fouls and use it truly just to clarify. Next item, court coverage for the lead. Our lead has gained a tendency to be too tight to the lane line, and the tendency has even creeped into our books. There's two corrections we've got for the CCA manual where you'll see in this picture here, the lead, it's too tight. It should be at the LDB marker. That is the actual close down position. So adjust those mechanograms in your books, and also try to work a little bit wider. We just get too tight and our angle gets closed and we're inaccurate in our play calling. So that's our court coverage things on lead. And then on pass crash plays, this wasn't in our books at all in the past, so we've defined what a true pass crash is, and that it's an immediate crash after the pass. And the lead is going to take that crash. Even if the ball is passed into the lead's primary out wide, lead stay with that crash. You've got the history of that defender. And I jumped ahead, look at me. So there's our definition, and then we talk about the strong side, making sure the lead is ready to go, and we've got a couple of plays. So besides the illegal uniforms that the blue team is wearing, you'll notice here on the strong side drive, our trail goes out with the pass, and we do not have a whistle on the crash portion of the play. So what we want to do is to make sure that as lead, we stay with the crash, officiate that. The trail can catch that shot out there in the corner. A lot of times it's going to a player who is not defended. And so let the trail have that, stay with the competitive matchup in the crash. It's another example. A lot of dynamics with these plays. We have the restricted area in addition to a lot of contact here. We have no whistle on these plays. Lead's got to stay with. The situation with the lead, and the lead has a foul on a three-point shot in the corner. So they're marking. Now they have the foul, so they have the whistle, and the ball goes in. And our mechanics manual didn't say ever that the lead could do this. So now our mechanics manual says on a baby basket when there's a foul in the lead's primary, the lead is going to go ahead and let everybody know it's a three and it's good. So somebody pointed that out, so we wrote it up in the book. Nice signal. All right, timeout signals. This was something that was pointed out to me by the regional advisors, that we are all over the map with our signals for media timeouts. So they brought forth a highlight on that. Here's how we call the media timeout. Boop. Media timeout. Then you tell the table what type of timeout it is. Give them the 30 signal or give them the full signal. So we don't need to land a plane giving them all these signals. Just know first here, start the media, get the clock rolling. Those timeouts can be really long, and then report the type and which team. So just for clarification's sake, now we all can do that a little better. Substitutes during free throws. The trail is going to initially blow in the subs after that last free throw. After that situation, they're going to pass that sub off to the center. They're going to become the new lead. So we want to have one whistle to bring in subs. Now, if the trail doesn't recognize that, the center is going to pick that up for that last sub that comes up a little bit late. We want to make sure they get in the game, so if you're the center, it's not that you never blow the whistle in that situation. But the trail has to have some visibility and awareness that that sub is prepped up on them. So we want to make sure that they get in. And then we're not allowing the subs in between the multiple free throws. It's either at the very beginning or at the very end. So hopefully that speeds up our play a little bit. All right, game management and game awareness. Obviously, clocks are going to be a situation that causes us a little bit of grief this season initially, but we're going to get good at it. Every person is responsible for clock awareness and also the starting the clock. And so I talked with the precision timing folks, and interestingly enough, they do have some guidance and information about the timing pack. And for the new folks, if you don't or haven't ever seen one of these, I'll make sure to pass this around. Here's what the timing pack is. You need a special lanyard to use this, but there's a video that Precision Timing put together that talks about their system, and I added this link to the Arbiter Central Hub under resources. So go and watch that video. It's about 10 minutes long. There's some information in there that I didn't know as a referee that I really wish I would have known. And it's another data source that we can use if we do have timing mistakes. They've got some details there that no one has ever shared with us as referees, but it's available. So I dug that up, and now it's on there, and it's really, really quality information. So check that out. And then they also wanted to point out, mechanics focus, that when you're counting and now all of a sudden we have a stoppage, you can use your count as a guideline for making a correction. So if it's a shot clock play and all of a sudden it's closely guarded and we got to 4, man, all right, take it to 16 because it should have been a 20 reset and I got to 4, so we're going to go 16. Okay? Regarding the shot clock, we addressed some of this stuff. We want to make sure that when we are shooting those free throws that we get that clock reset all the way to 30. They're going to hold it. When that ball comes off, now all of a sudden, if it's an offensive rebound that happens in the front court, they're going to go to 20, regardless of where we had started. If we've got a rebound that is batted around, all of a sudden goes all the way to the backcourt, it's still an O board for that team, even though they had to track it down the backcourt. That reset, not 20, it's going to be a 30. So we might do this and do that again. Be patient with folks. You guys you're going to get it. They'll get it. And the other piece to remember is, looking at stats, the number of offensive rebounds in a game compared to the number of defensive rebounds in a game, it's almost a 70-30. So we're not talking about 100% of the time we're going to have this situation. We're talking about 30% of the time. We can get this, so be confident. And then just from a point with the shot clock operator, that pregame piece is really important. Go over there during pregame, have them show you their little controller, have them during the countdown to start the game, practice, all right, does it reset to 30? Does it reset to 20 during live play? There's the 2 buttons. This is what most of the controllers are going to look like. It's 2 buttons. You guys can do this. They've got phones with many more buttons, so they'll figure it out. What questions do we have on the mechanics matters? Get your mic.
Depending on during the free throws and the substitutions, I just want to just be clear. So if on the last of the 2 free throws when we have substitutes, we just can allow them to come in one by one or whatever. They don't have to be in the substitution box.
That's correct.
Okay, so
They
they
can
can
have, it's still an open game.
run. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Question? Anyone else?
Hi, Penny.
Hi, Randy.
Just had to bring up info replay, didn't you? Appreciate that. For the monitor review, we tell the talent at the end of the review, should we also be telling the public address announcer?
Yes, that's part of our protocol, which we're going to cover in the breakout.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, no other questions? Hey guys, I made a video. Took me about a month to put this thing together, and I gotta give a shout out to Juan Zarametta, who spent a little extra time with me and helping me find plays to put into this. I'm really proud of it because I think it really kind of ties in some of the strategic plan initiatives This video is not like most of the videos where you're only gonna see teams that were in the championship games and in the Division I NCAA tournament. You're gonna see games from all over, so if you thought you were hiding and you were safe, you weren't gonna show up in the video. Gotcha. But the point is not for that. It's really to make sure that every official that watches it, regardless of what level they're working, they see plays and they see games that look like the games and plays that they are officiating. Same with the coaches and the players that may see the video. We want them to see plays and games that look like what they're playing. So without further ado, we're gonna go into the instructional video. So enjoy.
Vice President of NCAA Women's Basketball. We have tremendous momentum right now with our game and championships. This is all brought about by compelling team and student athlete performances that have led to some magical moments none of us will ever forget. I thank all who have played a part in the rules changes and points of emphasis over the last several seasons that have addressed physicality, flow of the game, overall format, and sportsmanship, leading to what most consider a stronger game. This video is intended to educate officials and coaches so that all are prepared for the coming season. In addition to the key learnings, we ask that you pay forward the messaging to your student athletes, staff, and fans so that all are ready for tip-off. As we near the start of the 2019-20 season, I hope you share my excitement for what is set to come. With your help, our great game will continue to get even better. Best of luck.
We are coaches of women's basketball, stewards of our game. We conduct ourselves with professionalism and integrity and put foremost the safety, welfare, and educational interests of the women we coach. We empower young women to succeed in life and to become leaders in their professions, communities, and society. We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are the WBCA.
Hi, I'm Penny Davis, NCAA National Coordinator of Women's Basketball Officiating. I am so excited to work with our officials, coordinators, and coaches to improve officiating at all levels and to elevate the experience for our student athletes. The goal of this video is to communicate several key elements for the upcoming season and to provide visual examples that aid in the understanding and consistent enforcement of our rules and guidelines. It should be noted that no attempt was made to embarrass any institution, coach, student, athlete, or official. The basketball committee has identified several points of emphasis that need special attention. Let's get started. Post play will probably always be a point of emphasis. While great strides have been made in calling displacement, officials must continue to be disciplined and officiate in their primary areas, especially off-ball in the post. Detecting that first displacement or illegal contact by either the offensive or defensive player is critical to officiating this important area of the game. As a reminder, a post player is defined as a player with or without the ball, with her back to the basket, who is inside the 3-second lane or within 3 feet of it. To consistently apply the rules and prevent play from becoming too physical, officials need to be more aware of offensive post players in the lane for more than 3 seconds. 3-second violations must be called, otherwise the offensive team gains an unfair advantage. Here are some key points regarding the 3-second rule. It applies only to the offensive team while they are in team control. Team control ends on a shot when the ball is released. It's a violation when a player has been in there for more than 3 seconds. It applies only when the ball is in the front court. That's when the count starts. A new count is started when an offensive player clears the lane with both feet. There's no 3-second count during a throw-in. It begins when the ball is inbounded. Let's look at these plays.
This is an example of legal defensive and offensive movements by 2 post player opponents. While there is contact by both players throughout this clip, there is no illegal contact. This is an example of appropriate post play. The lead rotates as the ball is moved around the perimeter and staged with the competitive matchup in the post. Offensive post player Blue 31 legally posts up in the lane and is displaced by the defensive player. The center official immediately calls this obvious displacement. On a throw-in, the 3-second count does not begin until the ball is touched inbounds. White 11 is in the lane during the throw-in, but she continued to stay in the lane for more than 3 seconds after the ball was inbounded. A 3-second violation was correctly called here. White 21 receives the ball when she is inside the 3-second lane. She never clears the lane and continues to post up and is correctly called for a 3-second violation. Officials, remember to stop the clock with a raised open hand first and then signal the violation.
The concept of freedom of movement is a key element in our game. Freedom of movement is tied to the recent growth that we have seen. When we allow our players to move freely, they are able to showcase their athleticism and score the basketball. We must continue to officiate the action off ball effectively, calling every push, hold, reroute, and impede, so that we can keep the integrity of our game and allow freedom of movement. This year, the two areas of particular concern are cutting and screening. Regarding cutters, to legally defend a cutter, a defender must not only get to the spot first, but also allow time and distance. Defenders cannot extend their arms to hold or delay. Also, offensive cutters cannot push or hold the defender.
Gold 1 is defending Black 14, who makes a pass and then cuts away, but she is impeded by the defender. At the start of this play, the defender is in legal guarding position, but as the offensive player begins to cut, the defender moves forward into the offensive player, which is a foul. Correct call. On this throw-in, Black 10 immediately holds White 21 on her cut. Throw-in plays are a place where a high level of focus is needed. This play happens in a dual coverage area. Great job by the crew. Maroon 21 uses her arm to wrap and hold her opponent as she attempts to cut. Freedom of movement is clearly impacted here. White 22 is attempting to run a route through the zone defense, where she is impeded by multiple players who extend their arms and contact her. Call the first foul when there is an impact on the cutter's rhythm, speed, balance, or quickness. Black 34 sets up legally to defend White 25. She takes her position and allows time and distance for the opponent to stop and change direction. This post defense is legal, and the foul is correctly called by the lead official.
Screening is equally critical. It's imperative to have a clear understanding of all components of the rule. When screening a player who's not moving, the screen can be set short of contact, as long as the screen is not set outside the visual field of the player being screened. All other screens require time and distance, such as blind screens and screens on moving opponents. Once a legal screener is contacted by the defender, she may roll, as long as she does so without creating other illegal contact. Here are some examples.
Blue 11 sets a legal screen for her teammate. White 0 hits the screen, but continues to push through it. This is an obvious foul on the defensive player. White 35 sets 2 legal screens on this offensive set, then attempts to roll to the basket. On the second screen, after the defender hits the screen, the screener is able to roll to the basket. Red 34 then grabs and pushes white. This is a foul on the defense. The center does an excellent job staying with the competitive matchup while there is an uncontested three-point shot in his primary. Black 35 is initially a ball handler dribbler, but then hands off the ball and sets a screen on a moving opponent without allowing time and distance. The lead does an excellent job to extend coverage as she has no other matchups in her primary. The trail could also have had a whistle on this play since there was no defense on the ball handler. The team in white attempts to set an elevator door screen, but the defender is closely trailing the player she is guarding, who the screen is set for. Because the defender is so close, the elevator door play is illegal when the screeners contact the defender, as there is no time and distance to legally set this screen. Excellent call by the lead on this play.
Since these rules were emphasized 4 years ago, we are finally at a place where ball handler dribbler fouls are expected and no longer a huge irritant, except when they are not called. Good job of calling these fouls. Enforce the guidelines from the start of the game to the end and all throughout the season. Calling hand checking, extended arm bars, two hands, and multiple touch fouls requires little judgment, only the courage to keep calling it. Continue to be diligent with this, and let's not lose ground on the positive progress we have made.
Black 14 is defending the ball handler. Initially, she contacts the dribbler with a single measure up, legal. Then she follows with additional touches, which are not called. Then as white begins a drive to the basket, two hands are placed on her, which is called. Call the first foul on this play and set the tone for the game. White 23 is allowed one hot stove touch, but she then places an extended arm bar on the ball handler. Good call by the trail. The offensive player is not permitted to displace her defender. The dribbler uses her forearm and creates space. This is a foul. Blue 22 is initially defending the post player in white at the elbow. She is permitted to have one hand or one forearm on the post player who has the ball. Once the post player faces up to the basket, she now becomes a ball handler dribbler, and now ball handler dribbler rules apply. When two hands are placed on the dribbler, a foul is immediately called. Well done. Blue 2 is attempting to defend the ball handler and go over a screen. She extends her forearm and places it on the ball handler. This is an automatic foul, as shown by the decisiveness of the center official. The defender places two hands on the dribbler. This is an automatic foul. Continue to call these automatic fouls all throughout the game.
Defensive players who legally get to a spot first are entitled to put their arms above their shoulders and jump straight up. In the post area, we are seeing players get to a spot first, raise their arms, and then move forward into the offensive player. This forward movement and contact is a foul. Once the offensive player jumps to shoot, the defender's position on the floor and the vertical space above her is all that she is entitled to, and any movement towards or into the path of the airborne player will be a defensive foul if there is illegal contact. Officials need to referee the defense and penalize these plays.
This is a good example of verticality by both the offensive and defensive players. The player with the inside position stayed vertical, did not displace or foul. The player in black on the outside secured the rebound over white with a better timed jump. There is no foul on this play. The defenders in red place their arms over the offensive player and in her vertical space. When the offense jumps to shoot and the defender's non-vertical arms contact her, this is a foul. The defender in white does a great job to stay vertical and not move forward into the offensive player. The contact on this play is incidental. Excellent decision-making by the crew on this play. Similar to the last play, white 5 jumps in her vertical space to defend the shot. This is another great example of the principle of verticality. Officials need to be disciplined and referee the defense to make correct decisions on these plays. Even though there is significant contact on the offensive player, it is completely incidental as the defense was legal. The help side defender establishes legal guarding position on the post play. She keeps her hands straight up above her head in her vertical space, but then she continues to walk into the offensive post player as she jumps to shoot and commits a foul.
This area of our game has the potential to lead to rough play. Every time there is a shot, we have rebounding activity, regardless if the shot is made or missed. Officials need to concentrate and identify the matchups in their primary and or secondary. Rebound action requires team officiating. This includes a trail official. Don't begin to transition too early. Some keys for rebounding are: calling the first foul is critical. The possibility for intentional and disqualifying fouls increases if we miss that first call. Blocking out or boxing out without displacement is legal. Backing out or pushing an opponent farther away from the basket is a foul. Players cannot undercut or move into the landing space of an airborne opponent. Clamping and hooking the arms of an opponent is a foul. Don't let these plays escalate. And remember, once a player has secured control of the rebound, she becomes a ball handler dribbler.
White 22 secures multiple rebounds on this play. Notice that she jumps straight up to secure the rebound. Maroon 1, who is inside position, begins to back into white 22. A foul is incorrectly called on white. Officials need to be aware of the principle of verticality on these types of rebounding plays. Red 52 shoves white 15 in the back and displaces her to a position under the basket. When white jumps for the rebounding, more pushing occurs and red undercuts white. This is a foul on the first displacement. Don't wait for these plays to escalate. Red 2 clamps and holds white 21 on the rebound attempt, preventing her from making an attempt to rebound. The immediate whistle on this play prevents further physicality. Good job. Once a rebounder secures the ball, she becomes a ball handler dribbler. The balance of the ball handler is disrupted by the contact. Nice job by the new trail to penalize this foul. Black 1 discreetly clamps the arm of the taller post player to prevent her from jumping for the rebound. Great job by the lead to observe this hold and penalize the play accordingly. Black 24, who has inside position for the rebound, holds her opponent with her right arm, preventing her from going after the long rebound. The trail official extended her coverage to whistle this weak side rebound in her secondary. Excellent job to call this play with a cadence whistle. Good team officiating to get this play right.
Free throw coverage is a new point of emphasis. A trend of increased physical contact on the free throw shooter is a concern that must be addressed. Opponents can box out the free throw shooter, but must do so legally. Officials must be diligent and maintain a high level of focus to officiate their primary areas of responsibility on all free throws throughout the game. This same focus also applies to officiating the players located outside the three-point line. These players are subject to the same restrictions as the free throw shooter. Officials need to correctly enforce the violation by both offensive and defensive players on all free throws. Enforcement of this early in the game and early in the season will be necessary to reverse this trend. Take a look.
White 11, who is behind the three-point arc during the free throw attempt, does not remain there until the ball strikes the rim. She gains a distinct advantage in this rebound. This obvious violation is missed. The trail official is responsible for the players outside the three-point line and should call this violation. Red 2 is in a marked lane space and legally enters the lane after the release of the ball. However, she proceeds to box out the shooter, who is restricted to stay behind the free throw line until the ball hits the rim. This box out is a foul, but it's also unnecessary contact. The center official is responsible for the contact on the shooter. Staying focused on primary responsibilities during free throws will help officials observe these acts.
The Rules Committee is concerned about violations of the bench decorum rule by players, coaches, and bench personnel. Let's review a few things about the coaching box. 2 years ago, the coaching box was extended 10 feet to facilitate communication during live play. This permits our coaches to roam all the way from the baseline to the 38-foot mark. This area does not extend onto the court. During a timeout, the bench area does not extend beyond the 28-foot line. A trend of coaches leaving the bench area and inappropriately engaging with officials on the court is an issue that needs to be addressed with a warning or a bench technical foul, depending on the severity of the act. The image of women's basketball is driven by the conduct of the players and coaches in the game. Good sportsmanship and bench decorum are paramount to a positive image. There is great passion for the game and moments where emotions are high. It is expected that officials will address and penalize misconduct and poor sportsmanship when it occurs in our game. As stated in the officiating guidelines in Appendix 3, the Rules Committee wants the coaching box rule enforced. Warnings and technical fouls must be given for infractions. The rule is clear and concise. Some coaches blatantly disregard the coaching box, and many officials refuse to enforce the rule. Please review these guidelines for appropriate conduct. Institution and conference administrators must encourage their coaches to adhere to the rules and must support officials who properly enforce them. Let's clean up this area of our game, model good behavior for our audience, and be good sports. I hope you have found this information helpful as you prepare for the upcoming season. Please use this video in addition to the bulletins, video plays, and rules interpretations that will be distributed. Officials, let's work together, enforce the rules and points of emphasis so we can increase consistency across the officiating community and take care of the game. Have a great season.
Okay, that ends the main part of the presentation, so we're going to get ready to go to the breakout sessions. Each breakout session is approximately 45 minutes, and then we'll have like a 5-minute rotation break in between each one. So again, I ask you to look at your badges. You'll have either 1, 2, or 3, and we have specifically numbered them, so please stay within your group. So if you are group 1, you're going to be staying over here with Penny for a rules breakout. A big shout out to Violet Palmer, who has agreed and has done a replay protocol breakout for us, and so she'll be straight across the hall. So if you're number 2, you'll be going with to Violet's session first, and number 3, the corner for John for his breakout rules, and then we will rotate accordingly. So 1 will go to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 1, so forth as we go through, and then we'll finish up in this room. So take a couple minutes to gather your stuff and rotate.
We're doing good? We're doing good? All right. Are you escorting your son here, Ken? I'll get a little stack if I get you close enough. Just, okay, great. assistants like this. I got really good help here, Rob, it's wonderful. Plus resources. Boy, the video, I don't really want to see my head on that big screen. Kind of crazy. All right, first breakout. This is officiating potpourri for 100, Alex. It was kind of a hodgepodge of ideas and items that needed to be addressed, so struggled a little bit with the title. Threw that on there just out of placeholder. I'm like, you know what? We're going to just stick with it because it fits. So digging right in, we're just talking about things that are in our officiating CCA manual. We are going to do some of the Slido exercises, so you need your mobile device to get into that. But I'm not telling you anything that is a Penny Davis, this is how you should do it because it's what I think. I'm telling you the stuff that's in the manual that I should have been doing when I was on the floor and that y'all need to be doing moving forward. And it's important because we just want to exact the standards that are there and work the system so that it doesn't matter who you're working with, where you're from, when 3 of you show up to do a game, it's just poetry because we do what's in the manual. So moving into our first play, you're going to see the play like 3 times. I'm going to ask you a question about it, then we'll discuss. So, y'all ready to begin? Here we go. So this is about coverage. Rob, you have music you can play while this is going on? It's kind of dead. So one of the things you'll want to do when you get to the question is to change the breakout to where it says PD breakout. So you're going to get 2 questions here. When I press the button. There you go. First one. You saw it 3 times. I told you it was coverage. Oh, I didn't want to hit you. Oh. Great. 16. Jerry Mack, you going to answer this for me?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to turn on my cell
Oh,
phone.
you do too. You do too. 24, there's more you than 24. Come on, I need participation in here. Maybe check on everybody. Slow, are you on the Wi-Fi? We paid for the Wi-Fi. Slower. 37, come on. How are we doing, Piercy? A little high, making it happen back here? All right. Checking on the back row. Always gonna worry about the back row. Okay. 39, that's what I'm gonna sit on? Okay. I'll show you the results, that's what you want to see. Oh, second question, on a double whistle, who takes the play to the table? Look at your answer and say it out loud. Come on. Messing with my flow. Follow along. But not open neighbor either, so make sure we're okay. So do I. 48, oh, I got a little more participation. Okay. So let's see, here's some results. Trail, I didn't get any, whoever gets there first, okay. And then let's go back to the first question. Okay, pretty good. Primary official responsible for this play is... During a fast break in transition, in a one-on-one situation, play originating in C's area, fouls committed on the drive to the basket, C makes the call. Center makes the call on that, guys. Not the lead, it's the Center's play. We'll look at it again. This is why we're covering this. Transition. Center's primary. It's the only play. Yes, it's a secondary defender, but it's the only defender. Center needs to referee their side of the floor. Straight from the manual. Okay, next play. There might be a theme. Questions up for you guys? Get to that. We're all right. Yes. Let's see how we did. Did we improve? I got a few more. Okay. Primary official responsible for this play is the lead. Good. Drives originating from the C. C is responsible for the primary defender. Primary defender, there was contact. The center called that foul. No. Next part of the play is a help side defender. Secondary, in that situation, there was contact. It's illegal. People have primary coverage responsibilities for refereeing the secondary defenders. We have to pay attention and understand whose defender is whose. So back to this play. Right here, there's a little bit of contact. That would, if the center decided that there was a foul right there, that would be center's play. The next part of the play, the center doesn't really have that great of a look at it to begin with. They should be having a cadence whistle if they decide they need to be involved with that play. So we just want to have a little bit more whistle discipline because there's just a lot of dynamics. We have drives to the basket in addition to foul in the play. We have restricted area, lower defensive box, where did that play originate? So we just worry about blowing the play. We forget about having all of that other information. So we want to have good habits and prepare ourselves for that. And if there was, then the center should call that. Next play. Here's our question. And no chuckles for the last one? 49, oh, right. So keep it join us, huh? How do we do? Center. Oh, I like what I'm seeing here. Center's play. Good. Getting there. Getting there, guys. So it talks in our mechanics manual about double whistles. And we really only want a double whistle when there's uncertainty as to whose play it is. So the focus is let's back off of that. Let's have more discipline with our whistle. Team officiate. Want to eliminate any guessing. We saw on the one play with the center blowing that. They're moving past their primary defender. They probably didn't have that great of a look at it. Let's just be more disciplined. This play, I think oftentimes so much pressure on the team to referee every single thing in the paint. That's not good team officiating. This is not a drive down the lane. This is just a play that happens in the paint. So our coverage area is really important. We go back to whose side of the paint is it on. And center should get first opportunity. If they don't have it, then the lead. And a lot of times the lead may have the best look because they're going to get that front side contact. But let's still give center that opportunity to call that play first. All right, the next play. My phone went big on that. It's really important. And there's my play. Questions up for everybody? And it's a two-parter. Part B. Alright, so let's go back to the first one. And C. Very nice. Primary official display is the lead, absolutely. Jump down to the post, they make a move to the basket. Leads primary, leads play. They don't have a whistle. Moving in. Part B. Trail should referee that in their secondary. Great time on the whistle. Good. One of the things we have to realize is trail, if we start backing away, we disengage from that play, we can't help the lead. And a lot of times as lead, when we are refereeing that post play on the low block, we're up here with our eyes, looking at this type of contact, and we don't necessarily see that body contact like on this play where it moves them out. So it's a really good job on that play. Talk about cadence. Here's our definition. Here's our definition. Got ahead again. Don't be slides. I know it's on here. Time your whistle in their secondary area. We used to call it a secondary whistle, and now we've called it a cadence whistle for the last couple of years. Use that terminology and talk about, hey, we had this double whistle in our game. You know, let's assess, should we have had it, that I need to be more disciplined at center on this play, that I need to be more disciplined at trail. Recognize, especially when you guys have been working with a veteran official, they may be a little more quicker to make decisions than you might be. You might take a little more time in processing. Don't be afraid to tell that veteran official, hey, you know, I was getting there, I'm gonna try to get a little faster, but you just give me a half a minute longer. If you feel like they're always beating you to the punch on a play, you just didn't get there, just trying to let the play finish and then decide, ask them for that, and they may be able to do that for you, and that will help you get more involved and engaged in the game. So feel free to communicate that with your crew chiefs, and if it's not received well, then okay, don't tell that person that again or ask them that again. But continue to try to work on it yourself, and don't try to speed up your decision making just to beat somebody and then develop bad habits or make bad decisions. Harper's play number 4. That's the same one. We didn't need to see that one again, did we? Similar play, we should be really good at this one. Okay, then answer the question. Good, I'm glad. How can I see the results? Come on now. You guys didn't see the end? Like answers on that one? You see the results? How do you? All the above. Amen. Yeah. Give them the opportunity. Yes, it's in the league. The trail had a great look at it. Awesome. Team officiate. That is what we're going for. I will take the help on that play all day long. Yeah, maybe that was maybe a little bit quicker. The interesting part of the plays shared with me, the person said both of these plays, she was burnt on the first one as the lead, and so recognizing this is a body play, probably jumped on it a little bit faster, because sometimes when we have those experiences and we learn, it causes us to react that way. But that's it's a great learning play because we see that a lot, where it's clean up top and the lead's looking up there. We miss that body piece of the trail. And who's standing behind the trail usually? The coach. They have a really great look at what we're looking at, and they don't understand why we almost lose their whistle because it's so clear to them. So it's good to see the officiating. All right. Number 6, different categories.
Leaders have been on the end line. As you back out to break, 5 to shoot, range drives, and again, run. Leaders have been on the end line. As you back out to break, 5 to shoot, range drives, and again,
All right. See if our slide will come up here. All right. 2 options. 50-50 shot at getting it right. That's 50-50. And I only got one answer. Go back to the second. Now I got 13. All right. Second question. Go back to the first. Interesting. A lot of us want to go ball out of bounds on this play. Should really be a 2-shot foul. We're going to look at it. We'll look at the play, talk about it. Stuff like that. Okay. This is a kind of a hot button for me because I watched quite a few games and I noticed that we are very consistently not awarding free throws. And you'll notice that all of our rule changes are, we want shorter times of possession. Why? More scoring. We put in all the freedom of movement guidelines a few years ago. We let players get to the basket. For why? More scoring. So this falls into that same category. We want to
Utah started hot on Friday, too.
Let's go back.
Leaders have been on the end line. As you back out to break, 5 to shoot, range drives, and again, run. Leaders have been on the end line. As you back out to break, 5 to shoot, range drives, and again,
What's our guideline for making this decision? Hang on, we got a lot of people talking all at once. Steve, what were you say loud enough everybody can hear you? Done that by what? At what point in time? You're saying contact, okay, great. Who else agrees with that? When the contact occurs, where's the player? Okay. So really shy. And a lot of us were talking when the video was playing. Say it again. It is when the foul is recognized. When is the foul recognized? When that official blows the whistle, and that was a very good whistle, but you got the point. When they start to put their fist up, what is the status at that point in time? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. And I may be wiping it. No, it happened first. Well, I don't know why we do that. We think that's great. We want more scoring. We want to put them on the line, let them put points on the board, and not get to this situation. So it's the status when we blow our whistle. It's not the contact, because the contact may or may not end up being a foul, because we have to decide when that player is injured. And when we decide that they are hindered, then it becomes a foul. There may be contact, they're never hindered. It's incidental, so we don't have a whistle. So we have to decide that and then be aware of the status at that moment and award free throws appropriately. So here's another example. Well, I know you guys want to change your answer.
UConn started hot on Friday too. Jones draws the ball. UConn started hot on Friday too. Jones draws the ball.
Where's the status? Here she's starting to blow her whistle. Upward motion. Upward motion isn't in our guidelines. She's the habitual shooting motion. She's begun that clearly. She's on her 1-2. Let me throw the ball at the basket and see what happens. Give her free throws. We're gonna skip that. That answered it? Great. Yes, correct.
Start in.
Two things. The first thing is I need to break my wipe habit now. That's the first thing that comes to my head, because if I'm constantly wiping things, it doesn't leave any room for doing what's right, essentially. The second point is, are we allowed as a crew to help our crewmate in that position if they're not sure if they've started their habitual shooting motion? Is that allowed?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's a great point to talk about in our pre-games. Hey, if this happens, then open the door. You know, I'm really working hard on stopping wiping plays. I realize it's a bad habit for me. If you feel differently, come let me know. I will change it. We'll give them free throws. And work on that, just like you said. That's a really great point. But yes, we can team officiate that. And when somebody comes to you, take the information. Have that conversation in pregame, and I know we're probably, in a lot of cases in this room, this is the younger, experienced group for the most part, maybe don't feel comfortable coming up to that crew chief that has wipe, but if we talk about that in pregame and we reference that, hey, you know, I need to mention that in the breakout, how do you want to handle that today? You know, I had this happen last week and we didn't talk about it, so I really want to address it. What would you like, Ms. Crew Chief, for us to do? So have that conversation, and hopefully it just opens the door for us to be able to shoot, but you gotta be right. And just know, I've not seen a lot of clips where we're awarding free throws and we shouldn't be. I've seen a whole bunch of these ones where we're wiping, going baseline. We should be giving free throws.
UConn started hot on Friday too.
Appreciate differently
No. We have to do it across the board, and the other important piece is our coaches are probably really confused about what is shooting and what is not shooting, because we haven't been very consistent about that over the years. So we can start fixing that, and especially later in the game, hey, we've been doing it all game long, here's the free throws, yes, same here, free throws.
Just a quick point, you wipe it off immediately, and best things you have any doubt, go to your co-officials and ask, because if you wipe it off immediately, and then your co-official comes to you and says, I clearly have been impacted shooting, and you've got a coach to deal with as well.
Yep.
You can discuss how you're gonna handle that.
And going back to our mechanics point of focus, what's an important thing? Boop, fist up, pause, wait, hey, what 15, push. Yeah, that's 2 shots. And the other thing that will clue us in, a lot of times the player will start walking to the free throws. Context clues, guys. Pick up on them, you know, read the room. coach complains on the other end, hey, you're gonna get the same ones down here. We want more scoring. They love these 98 to 85 games. They got tired of those 45. There's nobody wanted to watch basketball. People are watching basketball because they love the scoring. So we need to adjudicate this part of the rule a little better. All right, so do we watch this play? Okay. Watch this one. And if they do it twice, doesn't mean they're really good. They probably are, should really be shooting. All right, next. We are not giving free throws on this play, you guys. We're better than that, right? We gotta shift that. We gotta shift that. This play, we're gonna let this run forward here. We actually have a conversation. No, I'm put it on baseline. Take the help. Take the help. Yes. Are you telling me we can't shoot free throws on a check and arm bar? Why, explain to me why that's challenging.
He's already doing this, all of a sudden he's sold, maybe he saw something for a shot versus now I agree it's 2 shots.
Okay.
I see that.
No. Wipe that out. I want to help you be successful, man. Wipe that out. Okay.
I think sometimes when we have that play too, we forget to bring the third person in as well. So usually when I see someone wiping it and I have a different opinion, the first person I ask is the third, because I already know what that other person called its opinion is. So usually I go to the other person and say, I have that shooting, do you have an opinion on it? And then
Cameron, I'll say too, in a game, when you have that thought, a lot of times you'll just look to the other person when you're shooting, right? And you don't even have to get together to communicate that. The fact that you just initiated that look and both have the question tells me, hey, we should be shooting free throws. So again, take the context clues. The fact that she and I made eye contact in the game and now we're both asking the same question is because of the experience and we know, like, yeah, that's what you show. Hey, guys, line up. We're gonna shoot free throws here. Mix it up. But have a conversation with me, call the official. And you can look at it later and then we can all adjust it. All right. Post play. John touched on this. One of the important things in our appendix 3 for play calling guidelines is getting the defender legal, because the guidelines are what they're allowed to do when a player doesn't have the ball versus when they get the ball. The posts are different. Who can hammer that out for me? Come on. When they've got the ball, stand up, tell everybody really loud. Defender can have an arm bar or a red open hand. Why are you looking at her? We have to when we're looking at post play, we can look at it really quickly and say that's legal, because when they don't have the ball, they're allowed to do a little bit more than when the player gets the ball. Okay? Help me out. When they've got the ball, what's permitted? Oh, we gotta work on this. When the post player gets the ball, back to the basket, in the lane area, they are allowed to have an arm bar. They are allowed to have it in, oh, yes, absolutely. Can they have 2? No. No, you gotta work on this. This guy needs a study group, right here. We'll help you get better, but we gotta understand what the guidelines are for this. Without the ball, yeah, they can do this without displacement. They can do this, they can put that knee there without displacement. Without the ball. With the ball, different. The pass is coming in, if they're defending, okay, I can do this. Okay, I can do this. This stuff, nothing down there. pushed out, rerouted, or held. And so when you've got that torso-to-torso contact, they're not able to do that. When you've got the two hands on, they're not able to do that. So those have to come immediately off. We're gonna look this next. Now we're talking about. So here in the toes, she gets the ball. The defender must have been ahead of her time here because he does a really good job of immediately off. And she doesn't have to come all the way off. This player chooses to come all the way off. She is still permitted that one point of contact. Next play. Here we go. Defender does a different style. Before she gets the ball, she's got the knee and the forearm. Player gets the ball. Notice the leg comes away. Just the forearm. That's legal. That's what we want to see. We don't want to continue to see two hands on, forearms on, torso to torso once the player gets the ball. That's a foul. We have to have the courage to call that. Early in the game, early in the season, when you go work these scrimmages, there's going to be a lot of whistles. But help them get ready for the season by blowing. Don't be the nice guy, gal at that point in time. Get them ready. Something with throwing administration, with our option to advance, and with our new specific positions. We're going to see more and more plays, and hopefully better plays, really consistently executed by the players. So huge scoring opportunities for the teams. Trying to not use a lot of my play, but I think this speaks to the just an experience and something for everybody here. So we have
the high post. Aldrich.
End of period play for second. Throw in.
Moody at the high
less than
post.
3 seconds. Bouncing the ball to the player as a trail, like the manual says. Also correcting handlings.
That Gonzalez.
Horrible position to referee this play. Horrible. Not a good feeling. When you identify this type of play and think of option advancement plays, they're exciting plays. This one, you're going to have an imminent shot. Where do you want to be?
Moody at the high
Not where I end up.
Aldrich.
Thankfully, the player wasn't fouled, because I would have had to guess.
Moody at the high post.
Got lucky. Would rather not just get lucky on a play like this. Want to have a better look. So, same game. Look at the situation here. Tie ball game, 2.5. I do not want to end up in this situation. That's not in the manual, but boy, I felt better being so close to her that point in time after how I felt in the first period. But the point of me showing you this, that's not in the manual. And there's sometimes we have to do things to prepare ourselves, prepare for the play, read the situation that's outside the manual. And it's not bound in a hard cover. That book is flexible, you guys. And if you go where you need to go to see the play, and you do a great job of covering it, no one's going to say, gosh, I just handled all of the players there. That's an outlier situation. Do what you need to do to referee and work on your basketball IQ. I built my IQ on that end of period play, the second period. Yeah, second period. I said the keyword. Second period, and I carried that into the fourth, and it potentially helped, right? So, be students of the game. Take the lessons that you learn in situations like that and prepare yourself. So, I couldn't. There wasn't a basket. You go for a foul. So, good. So anyway, here's your book. It's coming soon, I promise. But it's a guideline, guys. Make sure that you have a good understanding. I think the book is very well written. I can't take any credit for it. It was completely written, sent to the printers, and done when I took the job July 1. But it's well done, and it talks a lot of detail. And there's things that we, gaps in our training and understanding that we have. We've got to get better at these things. So, what questions do we have about these materials for our book reading breakout?
shots. And maybe the thing I get challenged with is, which we think is automatic, but the guard drives the basket. They're going to score, because that's what they're doing. They're not going to pass to someone. But as they go to the basket, they get fouled. You recognize that. And because they can't make a shot, they're going to pass it off. But they've already started their motion to make a shot. Oh, I got fouled. I'm not going to have a good shot, so I'm going to pass it off. So my question is, they gather the ball to go shoot, get fouled. We see that. They pass it off. We're like, oh, that's a pass off. So I know I'm like...
So we have to be really careful with the word gather. And John put something in our Greece book that says, you know, the gather is not part of the shooting motion, because we have a gather that ends a dribble, and it could be for a pass, it could just be ending a dribble, or it could be shooting. And there's some situations where that happens, they G word, and from gathering to shooting, that time frame is about this big. So in that play situation, I'm like, yes, the gather is absolutely part of the shooting motion. And the ball headed guy is in the room, right? Probably staring at me, this guy right now, for saying that. But it's just so close that the time is this. And by the time you decide that it's a foul, you'll know if they're passing or shooting. And so that's where we just get to use our judgment. And we can help with that part of it from a partnering standpoint. Yeah, just be very cautious with it. And reference one of the new casebook plays. I'm sorry, I don't have it in my number in my head at the moment, but you're trying to delineate between gathering to end the dribble versus gathering to shoot. Other questions? Good. Okay. Well, that's the material that I have for the session. Thank you for your attention.
Can you guys hear me? Yes. We're a little inconsistent. We're not in our manual. And Penny, I have to say, John has incorporated a little added piece. Because what we've done is that we decided we pre-game, we have discussions, but you know what? We have not pre-game and added that we have to do a better job pre-gaming with our replay text, because we need fewer stoppages. Our stakeholders are feeling like we're taking too long. And it looks like I have in this room kind of our middle of the, are we our less experienced, or we kind of middle of the pack? Kind of both, right? So, for all of you, this is really, really important to learn and to read, because this will help you once you become a coach. Okay? Because now, you have to have a plan. Just a monitor. You gotta know it. Okay? Because you gotta be more efficient, effective in pressure situations. And we already know. I got Cameron. It's not all of them. Cameron, you might be the elderly. That's not bad though. Not at all. But we just have to, we know that if we have a plan and we practice it in our pregame, what is that going to do? That's going to help us in what? When I'm PG, what happens? You're tired. That's PG. Somebody else would say it. But it will help us do a better job of shortening our time, knowing the duties. Everybody knows what their duties are, understand it, and we can do a better job. Look at this picture. It's a great picture. Awesome picture. But you know what? We don't do that. Right, that's not what we do. Because this person right here, if this table is right here, this person be standing way back here. Look how many steps it's going to take me. This is seconds that we lose. So let's do a better job. Okay? All of us. This is how it should look when you go to the home. Really simple. Easy. Okay? So if you're going back, say, nope, VP told me to get closer. This person is still to see both edges. No problem. Would I agree? You agree? Yes. Yes, got it. Right? Now, starting out, we pregame, which you should be pregame. But we have to first do what? At the 45-minute mark, we pregame with our what? Table crew. We do a good job with this. Table crew, shot clock, timing. But we have to incorporate the replay tech. Extremely important. Because this again, we gotta build this rapport. I mean, for you to help us, so we can all get better. Okay? Everybody likes to feel good. Everybody. So make them feel like they're part of you. That will help you. You need them. Okay? And this is something we can do. We can do. Know their names. Extremely important. Right? And we have to do this every time. Make sure there's a handheld stopwatch. Know what system you're running. The great thing is now, if we're all Division I, we're all DD sports. So we're paid. Okay? That saves us. So you don't have a different system. Now for the Division IIs and Division IIIs, we still may have XOs, we still may have live stream via the iPad, but it doesn't matter. As long as you have the information to know what you're dealing with, it's going to help you in all situations. Okay? Ask the questions. How many angles? Okay? We have audio, right? Who's going to control the review? Right? We have Zoom, slow-mo, multicam, whatever it might be your questions are, you gotta ask them these. These questions are extremely important. Any questions on that? Okay? And mind you, this is making the whole table crew and our replay techs feel what? A part of the team. Okay? Continuing on with our locker room meeting, we're gonna ask the questions. We will come test the system when we get out there. Ask them, have the system had any problems in previous games? What were those problems? Because you don't want those problems in your game. You want to know what they are. Extremely important, okay? You want to inform them. This is huge. Well, I'm going to say it one more time. Huge. Inform them that you will come out and check the system, okay? And this is for any time for referee working our games. You will check the system. And I'm gonna show you the slide and show you what happens when you don't do this. Don't take it for granted. Don't get to the middle of the season and get comfortable and walk up there, and you go over to them, and you go, Michael Lynn, you good? Bad decision. Okay? We can't do that. Have to check the system. Okay? You want to say, you know what, be prepared. Know kind of what we're going to look for. You want to go over a couple of things? That's fine. 2 versus 3, timing issues, whatever it might be. Just ask the replay tech. Make them feel like they're part of it. Okay? Very, very important. Everybody likes feel goods, right? Any questions on that? Okay? If anybody has a question, please stop me. We can have open discussion. Okay? So now, after we deal with our replay text, it's all about us. It's about the crew. So all of you new up-and-coming crew chiefs, you just got promoted. Not true, not yet. I don't know. Possibly. I hope so. I know you're working on it, whichever one fits your category. Okay? But now you gotta run it. Right? You gotta have a plan. You gotta have discussion. You gotta discuss a routine versus a replay that takes all 3 opinions. Lee, what would be just a routine? What do you think? For a routine play, for a routine replay, what would you have?
Routine replay, check for number of the person put it up.
Okay, go on, that's easy. What was it again?
3, 2.
Perfect. Routine, 2 versus 3, maybe timing. Routine, right? What becomes more difficult? Michael?
End game.
In the game. Bingo. What? Upgrading?
Or the shots that determine the outcome.
Exactly. Have those discussions. So you already know what can be quick and what can take a little time. Right? Really easy. Really, really easy. I love this, and for this group, might not, well, no, I skipped one. Who's gonna run the show? And it's so funny, I told the group, the last group, which is a little more advanced, because a lot of crew chiefs were in there. But initially, I said, no, run. I said, let the tech run. Because if you're not comfortable, you have too many other things to think about. And be honest, and that's okay, that's not a bad thing. If you're not comfortable running the show, don't do it. Tell the tech, I'm gonna let you run. And just tell them what you want, okay? And that's okay. But if you're comfortable with it, do your thing, okay? But whatever you wanna do, you gotta know how to do it. Because it's about minimizing our time, shortening, we just wanna get better, okay? But how we manage the time, get in and get out. Does that make sense? Okay, everybody good with that? This is hilarious. And with this group, we shouldn't have this problem, but I said, don't you go over there with no Michael, Bryce. I did thought Michael, because I don't know if he went over there with the mask or not, but I said, look, we're already gonna get heckled, we already got lots of stuff going on. That's the last thing you want to do is put your glasses on and look at the pop. They'll say, you couldn't see start with. That's why you ain't got to play right all day. So you kind of open yourself up. And Penny and I discussed about having that class. No, I think I want to leave that, because that's kind of fun. But here again, if you really, really need them, I guess you want to take the crap, put them on. Okay? It just goes without saying. So, that's kind of up to you. Kind of up to you. Right? Put fingers right there. You got to do something. There you go. You got to do what you got to do. All right? But you want to have these discussions. Okay? We want to have a discussion whether the stoppage is during a timeout, in the game, or in whatever that may be. Have those discussions in the pregame. Because it kind of puts everybody on the same page. Any questions with that? Pretty easy. Yes? I would. Yes. That's what I'm sorry. I didn't know if I touched you earlier. Exactly. You would leave the cheaters. They would always be the cheaters. Because you can't go find them. I mean, for some people, why I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Okay, do this. I was being fun. You need to do this. Yes, have a minute. Right? Oops, did I go? Oh, here I am. I'm on my notes a little too far. Okay? Did I go too far?
You missed one thing.
I know. Hold on. This little thing gets really funky on me. This happened last, it's like my finger, okay? So, hold on. It doesn't like it. I don't know why. Boss man? Yeah, it's kind of sensitive. Hold on. It's the operator. It's where I'm at there. I have to be real gentle. It's like this stuff is hard and soft. All right. So now we get into we continue with our pregame and discussing the logistics. Okay. What everybody's going to do, what jobs they're assigned. Okay. Which can speed up again the process. Right. So we get together, we secure the floor, you already have that discussion, the R is going to run it, R says I'm going to ask the U2 first, in the last group, the crew chief said they're going to ask the U2s. And I said, well, you know what, awesome, because U2s, now this is your step up. So if you already know they're asking you first, be prepared to give them a good answer, be confident, be strong. You can't be, well, I think. No. Okay, they don't tell you, stop. What do you have to do? And now you won't be offended, but you can't be offended because you're not ready. I had this discussion yesterday. You have to know, if you go over there and look, you know what you got. Okay? And that's on us. That's on everybody in this room. Okay? You gotta do that. But you gotta know what your job, what your assignment is. Okay? And have that discussion in your pregame. We want to make sure when you guys get together that you have your total discussion. You know the number you have before you walk away. You don't want the walk of shame. You want to know where you're going to put the ball in play, who's going to go do what, because we all know we can't stand it when the crew gets together. So this is time. I say we want to minimize our time. We want to shorten it. So here again, when we get together, the last thing we want to do is to walk away and then have to do what?
Go back.
It's not a good feeling. I call it the war machine. We don't want that, okay? So let's just make sure that we have all the discussions. With our aura, again, we discussed this in our pregame, had the talk, we already know aura's gonna run it, we're gonna make a decision, okay? Who we're gonna ask first, which we just had that discussion, okay? What the decision is, we're gonna put the ball in play. We must, when you are the aura or the crew chief, you must be a good communicator. You gotta be able to communicate with your crew, you gotta be able to communicate with the table, you gotta be able to communicate with your coaches. All these aspects are extremely important. So for all of you up and coming referees that want to lead this discussion right here, you gotta know what you're doing. Very, very important, because we all want what we want, but we all don't want to do the work for it. Okay? So you gotta know, and in your lower levels, I tell you what, I know that most of us in this room, you're the leaders. Okay? And the less experienced officials are looking for you for guidance. So with that guidance comes your work, your commitment, your study of this whole system with our monitor protocol, because you run the show. Right? No excuses. We have all the information, we gotta do it. Do we all agree?
Yes.
Got it. Okay? So, going with the duties of our aura, we gotta run it, be efficient, okay? Be effective, right? Know the rules. I just kind of went through this real quick. Be prepared to make a decision. You gotta be a good communicator. Real simple. It's kind of like, mind you, if I could have it in the back of my head and I don't have to go do no replay. I don't have to replay not one game. All I do is just get the little email and say, ding, we have a replay, and then I look at it. If I know it, y'all should know it. And I don't have to do one replay. And I'm familiar with this. All I gotta do is read it over and over and over, and have discussions over and over. Because once you do that, it becomes habit for you. You don't have to think, you don't have to worry. It's gonna come back and it's gonna save you. Okay? Right. The on-court test. We just had that. You want to follow up. Make sure, as promised, that you go over there. Ask the tech on the angles, okay? Test the control, make sure it's plugged up, you get familiar with the system, all those things. Make sure that that inset clock, okay, that they're synced, extremely important. And actually, we actually had a discussion in our last session. What did you tell the last group?
So what we're talking about, the little yellow clock at the bottom. So we have to manually sync that to the game clock. So what we'll do is we'll get a shot of the clock, and then we'll have our clock running in the software, and then the technician, as long as he or she's confident, can sync that pretty darn close. But we got a really good discussion in the last meeting that probably should not be your first tool. You want to look at that angle that has the clock above the basket, right? So that will only be there if you need it.
When would that syncing process occur? Before the game begins?
Yes, that's in your pregame.
The technician, that's one of his or her roles, is to sync the clock. Basically, they'll just go frame by frame. They'll have a shot of the clock, frame by frame, and they'll sync it as close as humanly possible that we all know.
Exactly, without a doubt, without a doubt. But we want to try everything we possibly can. And we, of course, as crews, get into a routine. What does that do? That minimizes our chances for failures. That's all we want. We know this stuff happens, and that's understandable. But if we can minimize those things, we all come out better. Okay? And here's a prime example. Remember I said, now mind you, we got our national coordinator here. We got Nicole from the Final Four. These big timers. And how about this? We got the first period, 5:03. You know, looking at this video, I don't think they tested the machine when it came out. I think they went over and said, hey, Michael, we good? And Michael says, yeah, we good. And first replay, this is how we look. This is how we look. So that's why I'm saying to you, every single time, the replay tech is not even in the picture. Where is he? You know why? His behind, he's underneath the thing, and all they can see is his behind because he only had it plugged up. This is a true story. True story. Yeah, we can laugh because we crack up. Seriously, but this is what will happen. This is what you don't want. Real simple. Now you gotta do one thing. Go over there, ask Congress, and check and run the machine. Okay? Ask your questions. Is that pretty simple, right? Okay? Right? Now, here again, if we didn't do that part, then we didn't do this part. Look at this. Zeros, 0.1, it keeps going. That's more examples, 0.2. We got lights. Obviously, we didn't go over and check because this really happened in real games. Now, we already know how complicated this is. We don't want to add to it. So all we're doing is making movement back. We can eliminate this, okay? We can eliminate this. Oh, here's another one. With this one, we got 3. We got 0.1, 0.4, and my glasses are, what should I call them? Readers. 5.5. This is what will really happen. Now, we did have a discussion because what's not going to be there anymore? We don't have.
Well,
is this one going to stay or is it not?
The proposal was just to take this element out so that you weren't even, so you didn't even look at it, but then we had some feedback, what if you're on the sideline, what if your ankle does not have the clock in there?
Right.
You know, so I'm gonna just bring that feedback back, and that's why I'm really getting a lot of this meeting. I mean, I can take 3 or 4 things back and we can make this better.
Correct.
You know, I'll get done with your game in the locker room, shoot me an email, say, the technician sucked. This is why.
Yeah.
Or this would be a great feature to add. We didn't, we good.
Right. But we need the information. And here's another great point that I found out that could actually help us coordinators for future. You see this right here? This tells you how many angles you have. But how about, remember, you know how when you call your coordinator, the coordinator goes, did you look at all the angles? And you guys go, yeah, I did. How about that? Don't lie. Because when I get the information, it's going to tell me what you looked at. If you didn't look at all the angles, you best believe you better tell the truth. Okay? Integrity is who we are. Be honest. Don't tell Kathleen you looked at all the angles and you didn't. Because when she gets the information, she's going to know. The other good thing is for the WAC, the West Coast Conference, there was one other one. Big West, thank you. They have the newer systems. So in the newer systems, instead of having 4 cameras, we have 6 cameras. So hopefully next year, when the Pac-12 and the Mountain West contracts renew, they're going to go to the new 6 cameras as well. So for the newer conference, you actually get a little more, you get more angles, which is really good, which will help us. Because that's 6 opportunities for us to find the clock possibly when we have to make that decision, which is the helpful tool.
Maybe,
Yes.
go on.
Yes.
Does everybody understand what the color coding means on those boxes?
No.
Real quick. So the L is the live angle. That's the feed that the nation is getting. You'll have that look. A is perhaps maybe a high height, maybe A1 and B1, just in the picture. Your B and C traditionally are handheld cameras on the baseline. So it's important to know what your angles are before the game. But the color coding here, the gray, A, B, and C, the gray boxes alert me to the fact that those angles have not been looked at. So the yellow, if the yellow with the red outline around it tells me that I am looking at current, if the red tells me that that's what I'm looking at. If I move on to angle A, L still remains yellow, but now A becomes yellow and red around it. Does that make sense?
What does A stand for?
And if I I say the word replay, what does that mean to everybody?
The what?
When I say
A is high and tight.
if you hear your technician say, we have a replay on D, anybody heard those words before?
Probably not.
Basketball,
Bless you.
don't have a lot of replays because the action's going on. This game is obviously on television. There's a production truck, and I guarantee you, they got more than 4 cameras in this arena. And so they might have a different angle, maybe a slash camera or something that they can throw up, and the technician will say, hey, we need that slash look on D or E as soon as you can get it to us. He's talking to the people in the truck. And
Those
so
are the
now-
television views, correct?
Pardon me? Yeah, so basically, we see our replays, maybe at end of game scenarios, you know, flagrant fouls, we'll see replays on that. But on in this situation, you probably won't get a replay. You probably won't see D, E, F, and G, you know, lit up in gray. But if you do happen to take a look at it, you say, wow, looks like we got 3 or 4 other books here. You might want to explore them because B and all the supervisors are gonna be able to see exactly what y'all doing.
And that's only, again, this will only kind of bite you if you make a decision and that decision becomes incorrect, and we look at A and we go, look, Cameron, you didn't even look at A and it could have helped you make a decision. So again, if you can make a decision and you're right, you have your angle, that's fine. But if you have a problem, it would behoove you to do what? Look at all of them, to make sure. The objective is what? For us to get it right. That's all, that's really all we're doing, okay? And the other objective is, we have to be honest and tell the truth. Just don't even, you know, something, I know we all do it, but don't. It's not necessary, right? Any questions on that? I think this is just another one, but we have yes, point 7, point 5.
Brad, when there's other angles that techs can call for, how come they just don't call for them as soon as there's a?
Yeah, so we had this discussion earlier. Your technician can range from, somebody who's an expert that's been there for years to a 19-year-old that just got out of biology class and just failed the test, broke up with his girlfriend. You know, there's all kinds of technicians that you know, range from, at Tennessee Tech last year, we had a technician just get up and leave in the middle of the game. So, you know, it's a different range, so that's why Violet's point was so good about getting to know your technician, knowing their name. You know, when I'm on the floor, I actually develop a sign language with, you know, I could be all the way across the floor and I'll be going, you know, I don't want to stop the game. You know, I'll just go like this and you'll say 10 was your foul, you know, whatever. I mean, you've got ways of speeding the game up, and if your technician is good, he or she can be a lifesaver, big time. I don't know if I answered your question, but.
Well, I just think sometimes not everyone knows there's other angles. So we should just automatically come with monitor instead of.
Yeah, go over there and say, if they give you a replay, and he's looking at his screen, and we've all watched basketball games when the ESPN logo swipes over you know, that means a replay's coming. So when I see the swipe, I'm going replay on D, delta, or replay on E, echo, and that way a really good technician would say, your best look is on E. It's the best look we've seen.
We're gonna have that discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question.
But I think, Cameron, I think your point is very valid, but I think if we have more discussion like we're having now, and we incorporate this in our pre-game, that when you go over there with your U1 is there to help you. So if you don't ask for another angle, or if you don't see what you see, that U1 should say, do you have any more angles? Or say, Cameron, ask them for more angles. You know what I'm saying? So I think we can help ourselves with this too, because again, you have to understand the pressure on you, the time factor, right? But again, the reason why we're doing this is because we want to make this routine. We want to make it where we all kind of do the same thing, which will help all of our crews. And it won't matter if you're working the Big Sky or a PAC game or a Mountain West game. If we all can be a little more consistent, or Big 12, it doesn't matter. Or Division 2, the CCAA, it doesn't really matter. If we can do a better job with all of us incorporating this in our pre-games, studying the protocol, then we can all help each other. And I think that's the key component to this, okay? Key component, right? So another example that we just looked at with the time being, here again, 0.7, 0.5, okay? We just have to make sure that that in-lane clock, there's, right? Right, so now we're getting into the real nitty gritty, right? We got to replay, we do it with the whole little twirl of the finger to let our tech know that we're ready to roll. We're gonna come over, right, and start our replay, right? So again, I'm gonna say it one more time. This is where we should be. This will save us a little time, okay? We wanna make sure, what do? Secure the floor, correct? After we secure the floor, we're gonna get together, make our decision. However you wanna do it. Now, my opinion is, I think for us, I think we should secure the floor, get together, decide what we're gonna have, and then we go tell the coaches, what do we have? A play being reviewed, right? And the discussion came up, do we tell them what? Do we tell them why? You know what? That's why you're in the game and that's your decision. Personally, I would, because it puts me in box. I don't wanna be in the box and not go into the box. It's my personal, okay? But that's fine. If I was the crew chief, that's what I would do, okay? And mind you, we already know if it's a play where we have to, if it's an elbow or something, you know, we know we might have to upgrade it. I think our coaches are fully aware what you're going to prepare for. It's not a secret, okay? But just think, you don't want to put yourself in a box. This right here kind of buys you time. Wheels are spinning, because right now, you know, that, you know, what you want to look for, having all that time to kind of get you to incorporate what you want to do once you get over there. You want to inform, after you make the decision, you want to inform the score of your decision on the floor, right? Which is really, you know, what we have to do. We want to make sure that all three go take a look, okay? Now, of course, we're going to take a look for all three. What are those for? Those are for the end of game situations. You don't have to have all three for every single thing, but in the game, what else would we take all three? Upgrade to sportsmanlike. What else?
Players coming off the court.
Players coming off the court. Excellent. What else? Unobserved. Excellent. Anything else? Very good. Very good. Okay.
The phrase you said was, tell the coach the play to be reviewed. You're gonna
Plays under review.
Plays under review. Then you're gonna have coaches for what? They're gonna say that to you. Do you feel there's an obligation to say a little more specific?
Possibly. Oh, yeah, I mean, I think it was, but mind you, in most cases, they're going to break. Thank you. Now, mind you, if that's asked, then you of course have to respond. That's, but I think in most cases, it's kind of obvious, unless it's something very common. Okay, but I just don't want you to put yourself in a box. So when you're stuck with something, they go, but that's not what you said. Makes us look bad, all right? Okay, these are just, when we're over there, always, crew chief, aura, referee, you wanna make sure that you take someone, okay? Really important, don't go over there by yourself. You wanna make sure you want the best camera angle, okay? And this can help too. This can really help speed up this process, because if I'm the crew chief and I go over there and I find the best angle, when I ask the U2 to come over and look, what angle am I gonna show you, U2? The best angle. Don't start over. We do that. I know it's funny, but we do. That's a waste of time. You already know what angle can give the decision. That's the angle you want to show, okay? Right? A good example, ball hitting the rim, you want to use the slam cam, and this comes with practice, okay? The last session, they were real good to tell me what angle, what they would look for this particular play, for that particular play. But again, if I'm good at this, which all of us in this room probably will be, okay, you may not be able to do that. You may not. But if you practice it enough and have enough discussion, it's going to help you to be able to make these decisions, okay? We had this discussion. Very, very important. Watch it the first time in regular speed. Do not go over and say, can I see this in slow-mo? It's gonna bite you in the butt. Can't do it. Okay, remember a couple of years ago, we had the problem, on the inside where it was a little slow, but it was just a little slow, right?
Yeah, they were using this stopwatch on a replay, which was about 70 or 80% speed.
Exactly. Okay, so that's why you don't wanna do that. You wanna make sure that you're watching it in regular speed first, and then go to frame by frame if needed. Now, mind you, if this replay is, I'm talking time now, because we do this. If I go over there and I'm watching regular speed versus speed, and I see what I need to see, do I need to go frame by frame? Y'all do that. Y'all know y'all do it. Why? Not necessary. If you, it's an R, if you have it, I'm done. Let's go. Okay? Remember, this is about running the game. You want to show your coordinator, you want to show your crew that you are a young crew chief and you know what you're doing. So if I'm a young crew chief, I don't want to be over there real long. And then don't get mad when someone else is doing it right and you go, oh, you ain't no crew chief because you ain't handling your business. That ain't on me. That's not on Kathleen. Okay? So just remember that. You get your look, that's what you got. Okay? Remember, here again, very, very important. Very, very important. Okay? While we're still there, I just had this discussion. See, I go fast with the slides. We want the best look. Real simple. Remind you, that tells you right there. Get the best look. Really, really quick. You want to switch. You want to be in a few steps. Okay, behind the two. Minimal. Julie comes over. So Julie, you good? Bye. Michael, let's go. Michael, you good? Now we get together. That's no conversation. Nobody can say what we said. Nobody can know what. They don't have any information. Because now we're going to pull away. We're going to have our discussion. Any questions on that? Anybody? Okay. All right. Now, this is a new situation. Kenny just talked about it. The requirement, regardless. And I know you guys are going to say, well, why do we have to do this? No, we have to do this because it's in the book and it's a rule and we don't like the rules and we do as we're told. It's real simple. But you know what, you guys? It's not a big deal. If we do a good job of don't leave. This is what we have to run the game. Everybody stay, get in real quick. This is going to be so obvious because you know it's the one where they just heave it and it just goes in. Mind you, somebody had a discussion, well, if this is what the score is, I said, well, you know what, visitors, I think you should learn not to throw it up. No, we want to, don't throw it up, and then we don't have to go look. So it teaches them, this ain't on us, this is on them. So don't feel sorry for them. Do your job, okay? Right? Now, real quick, we had these discussions, get in and get out on the things we can. In the game, we get a little more time. We understand that, and that's okay. But we got to do better with this part. See how big this is? This is really, there's a lot of things that fit in this category. So we got to do a better job with that. Here's the play.
Takes it inside, Saxton on the offensive glass.
What do we have here? The foul. Before shot. Exactly. So we know we got to go. We know what we're looking for. Real simple. So this discussion should be pretty fast. Right? This shouldn't take very long. Okay? Now, after this is the result, Aura has to make a decision, asking questions. In the last group, they said that all those crew chiefs said that they would ask you two first. So, you two, be ready. Be ready. Be confident. Know what you got. Okay? Be assertive. I'm giving you just a couple of adjectives to make you look good. You can't hear them out. You can't not know. You got to know. You got to be confident in what you have. Right? This is your step up. Okay? Yes. Is it a majority? No, not really. But they want your input. They just told you. They want it. Okay? Experience, does it matter? Yes, it does. So don't take it personal. don't even take your feelings and throw them out the door. There's no feelings in officiating. We love each other, but we gotta make decisions, okay? Right? Have the discussion, resume play, take care of business, go to the meeting with the coaches, okay? Couple of situations, inform the coaches, always. You see Cameron right here? She got a partner. Never go over there by yourself. Always have an exit plan. You already know that one coach is not gonna be happy. That, you know it, so don't go over there and be surprised when the other coach goes, are you kidding me? Coach, after the review, this is what we have, we're gonna put the ball in play right here, you're gonna shoot 2 shots, or she's gonna shoot 2, whatever you got, let's go. No problem. There's nothing you can do about it, okay? Make sure you inform the announcers after, table crew, score, everybody, and we even added the replay text, okay? Same thing here, know the rules, as far as what's reviewable, follow the instructions with our blue sheet, different styles, that's fine, you guys are gonna have your different styles as well, no problem, we'll put the ball in play, what the number is, we want, of course, this is very, very, very important, okay? You gotta be confident, know what you have, okay? Yes, you gotta get over there, get in, get out. Couple more reminders, be cognizant of the time, I think I said that 50 times, know what you're gonna look for. The only way we can change something is what? Say it again. Thank you. What do we have to do better with? Stoppages and time, timeliness of our reviews. Okay, very, very important. Couple more things, body language, surroundings, okay? Practice, okay? This is what we have to do. We gotta practice this. We gotta talk about it in our pregame. Extremely important. I think that's what I probably said that again another 50 times. Here's the play. You guys gonna have fun with this. Well, I'm gonna have fun with it. Watch this. Wow. Okay. Nice. Look at our veteran crew here. Floor. Okay, we have call. We don't secure the floor. Oh, but you know what, Nick? I don't know what they're doing right now. Oh, okay, we're gonna go to the monitor. We just decided this is what we're gonna do. This is how it looks now. Okay, now I'm gonna go over there with, Bob said you go. Look how far away Bob is. Where should we be?
Closer.
Right
Closer.
here. Oh, we forgot to inform the coaches. Oh, we gotta go over there and tell them that. This is a no-no. Right. See how this looks? It's gonna get better. Watch this. All day you gotta go. Oh, I forgot. Somebody else goes, oh no, I gotta do my I gotta get in. This is what we do. Oh, now we got, this is a no-no. We should never have 3 referees at the monitor. Never. Okay? So here's a good example of what we don't want to do. Right? And these are veterans. Don't let your veteran coochie do this. You guys know. You know what you're doing. You know what we're supposed to do. Make sure you tell them. Okay? Real simple. Oh, they just switched. Look how long we're still monitor review. Oh, yeah, now we got 1. That's a no-no 2. What should we always have? 2. Right? So, that's just a good example of fun. But I'm going to make it even funner for you because we did all that, took all that time, and they ain't gonna break that. We were right by it. But that was just a fun clip to show you how it looks when you don't do a couple of small items. Follow the protocol, live in your pregame, have a discussion, read this constantly throughout the season because you'll become familiar with it, natural. Thank you guys so much.
big screen.
Want to go home, clap 2 times? Gotcha. Hey, great participation by everyone today. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your support, and I feel the love in this room, and it's very. You made this pretty easy on me today. I'm extremely thankful. I also want to thank Tina for being the glue to help Lynn and I figure out what more we're doing. To put this all together in literally 83 days took a lot of support and a lot of figuring out and understanding, and it would not have happened without her tutelage and June's guidance and mentorship. And so there are a lot of supporting pieces behind what you all saw today, and I'm interested and excited to hear the feedback from everybody. So, June often quoted several books. We had our The Boys in the Boat and The Mind in the Game, and I love that for our concentration piece, and I hope that we still carry that through in our games moving forward. I'm not a big book reader unless it's a cookbook, so I've got a couple recipes for you guys. Just kidding on that, but the thing that really that I think is important and really fortunate for this group is we're the first clinic. You just got the information that no one else has really heard just yet. So you've got a week advantage to help with your studies, help with your preparation for the season. And whether you're a Division I official who's been here forever, or first time in the building, or a Division II official that made their move to come in here and learn the information, or a Division III or a community college, you are leaders because you're in this room and you have that information. And I just ask that you go and take it and share it with the people back home, help mentor, be just good models of behavior for getting your study groups together and sharing the right info. And if there's clarifications and things that need to be sent out or communicated, direct them at me, direct them at John. We will get those answers and clarifications the best we can, because we want to empower and prepare everybody to be ready to go. So that's pretty much what I have for you all. Again, I wish you all nothing but the best this season. I'm excited to come and watch all of you through my new lens. They say that the windshield is 30 times bigger than the rearview mirror, and my face is pointing forward, and I'm looking out the windshield, and I can't wait to see this season and to be part of it in this new role. So thank you all very much, and stay healthy and get healthy, and have a great season.
A couple things really quick. I know some people got some flights. Background checks, if you haven't done it, I got a list. It's now called Sterling versus it used to be Verified. Make sure you're doing your background checks. Survey Monkey, again, reminder, you're going to get that email tomorrow. We took a poll of the team, the group that was in here last, but we're looking at potentially not doing a clinic every year, maybe every other year, especially on rule change year, and the other one doing something. So show of hands. Good to know. Okay, and then the badges are only being scanned at these two doors over here, so make sure that you get those scanned before you go. And if you have a flight, please go. Let them go first. So I'm the flight attendant saying, if you have a connection, please stay in your seats while the other people can get to their flights. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.